there, gotten away from it. So what we are going to talk about here today is, yes, we'll talk about the law enforcement portion of that, but there's a much bigger picture to what we are proposing. So I don't have time to get into the concept of transformational change. What we are proposing is doing is a transformational change of the mindset and how business in Benton Harbor. We believe that if people take back control of our neighborhoods, our organizations step up, provide services, that there will be the lessening of opportunity for gun violence. So my philosophy is for crime control is really simple: reduce the opportunity for crime and reduce victimology. If you have a chief, every chief should be able to tell you what their philosophy on crime control is. So again, for us, reducing the opportunity for crime, it's being visible, it's having people, if they see something, they say something, block clubs, lights, all those type of things. And also reducing victimology, meaning we teach people to help themselves not fall in situations where they might be victimized. Right? So, like there's a multi-layer onion. So first you have to do any project, have goals and objectives. So we have some goals that we're trying to accomplish. First one is obviously to reduce gun violence in the community. Good to see gun violence in the community. We also want to reduce the apathy towards crime and violence in the community. Unfortunately, and you know, I'm very transparent, we have gotten to a point in Benton Harbor where we hear gunshots and it just is what it is. We rarely call unless somebody's running down the street screaming or hollering, or we know there's actual been a shooting. That should not be. Also, it should not be. We've seen proliferation the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, where people will be shooting in broad daylight with people out looking and watching. And we pull up, what you see? I didn't see anything. That's the problem. That's what we're saying. It takes the community to arrest back control of our community. So we want to reduce apathy and citizens towards crime and violence. We want to increase community involvement between residents, churches, stakeholders. So for me, it's a 4-part union, if you will. It is the residents, obviously, the citizens of Benton Harbor. It is the police department. It's the churches. And again, I'm going to be very, very frank, very transparent here. I think we all would agree. The churches have lost influence in Benton Harbor. Bottom line. That has happened. It is what it is. Let's not talk about what was lost. Let's talk about what we're doing to regain that back. The churches have to be a critical part of that. Lastly, probably I think the most important part, the first thing I'll talk about is the base of the union of Benton Harbor and Benton Township. Because my entire career here, we have both been in our own respective vacuums. We work together, but we don't actually work together. Let's be honest. Again, we're going to be very totally transparent here. Now we're at a point where there's a leadership that has opened up the borders, at least over here, for Benton Harbor and Benton Township to work together. What you guys may not know, although we have the actual natural borders of charter versus city, when people commit crimes, there are no borders. They'll shoot and bust and go over to someplace in township. They'll shoot in Blossom Acres and go to 1200 block of Jennings and hide at Grandma House, and then we're shooting back and forth, but we weren't really communicating and talking real well. So in order for us, what we say over here is there's one Benton Harbor, there's one 49022, that's Benton Harbor, and that's Benton Township. Although we are separate in municipalities, we are one in spirit. Y'all should have clapped on that. That's the main thing. So it's very, very important. Work unity with Benton Township leadership. Again, we have leaders here that I have the utmost trust in, who have they've broken down barriers. Thanks to Mr. Mitchell also. We're working together, kind of give you an idea as far as we started on the fire service. For years and years and years, Township did not like coming to the city. Did not like coming at all. And they never asked us to mutual aid. Now we have an auto aid for bona fide structure fires. We help each other always on the police side. You know, if need be, if they're busy, we'll take a complaint or vice versa. We back them up, they back us up, working with spirit of cooperation. They have detectives. We have detectives. We got 4 detectives. They got 2. there's no reason why we can't come over and help them. So that's very, very important to this whole thing. And ultimately establish a network of support for victims of traumatic incidents. We'll talk about that also. We want to reduce, obviously, violence, gun violence, those type of things. Inevitably, those things will happen. What we want to have, and we're going to put in place between us and Benton Township, is what I'm calling incident response team. Again, I'll get to that down the road, but that's a team that will come in and help residents that are victims of trauma. I'll give you an example. This was confirmation from the Lord yesterday. We had a fire out in Kojic Village. One apartment burned, but it affected 4 apartments. Those 4 families are now out of homes. What we'll move towards having is a group of pastors that when there's a tragedy that happens, they're dispatched out to the scene. They go to the hospital. They're helping people. They're connecting with people to help them through those traumatic experiences. They're walking them through processes. Next day, maybe you got a call into work. You might not be thinking about that. Call the school that your kids want to be at school. Make arrangements for lodging. Those things we are not doing, and people, it's hard enough to deal with the trauma and then deal with picking up the pieces thereafter, even to the point of helping with funeral arrangements. Maybe we volunteer our churches free to those families. That's very, very critical to help people through these traumatic experiences. So we'll talk about that. So if you have goals, you have to have objectives. If you know anything about goals and objectives, set your goals. The objectives is how you meet them. So we want to reduce the opportunity for crime with focus law enforcement. We're going to hear very briefly from Captain Brown some things that we're doing on the law enforcement side. Again, we're trying to get into the foundation and not just do a blanket cover, but have a lasting effect. We also want to establish new block clubs, neighborhood watches to unite and engage citizens. I'm happy to say, like last year, we saw an influx of people communicating, people coming forward with information. We made arrests, we made a homicide arrest, a couple homicide arrests, people cooperating, and we've had dumpers that we've caught with people cooperating. We want to build upon that. We want to link with local churches, organizations, community partners to unify social programs. We have a ton of grassroots organizations around here, and some of us don't know what everyone is doing, but we have the same population, the same goal. So between township, the churches, grassroots organizations, and the citizens, we, capital W, capital E, work together to form the solutions for our community. That's where the answers come from. Then, of course, encourage citizen communication with police. Just talked about that. It's getting better. Getting better. One thing, guys, we have to realize when we talk about we don't want to say nothing, it's a cop-out. I'm going to be honest with you. Because here's the problem. It's more of us than it is of them. You come on my block and you shoot a gun, I'm telling. I don't care if you know, and everyone else should back that citizen up to say, that's not acceptable, not only on my block, but in my community. That's where we have to take back control. Law enforcement is secondary to the people that set the rules and norms of the community. I'm a sociologist, we can argue that all day. So just trust me on that. And establish a Department of Incident Trauma team, which I talked about. So, again, I'm happy to announce Benton Harbor and Benton Township are now one and the same. We are better together than apart. I believe that there's no way in the world we could do what we do in Benton Harbor and not be able to bless Benton Township and have the same cohesion of unity, especially with law enforcement. So I'm very, very pleased with that. Again, I'm apparently a little happier than you guys are, but
I was gonna clap.
So again, city and township will now work together, eliminate boundaries and limits. That's in the spirit of it. Obviously, we have our own commission, they have their own commission, all those things. But Greg knows if he calls, then I'm running. We are coming. Blake calls. Blake called about 3 o'clock in the morning. We are coming. These are people who I work with. I trust them. He was my sergeant. I was my partner. They called, we're coming. I love that. I thank Ms. Yates for her leadership. And this is a place that we always wanted to be. I think Captain Brown, we've had several conversations about that coming together because we want to affect all the people in Benton Harbor, which is a 49022 in its entirety. increase involvement in the footprint of churches in the community. We're going to have Pastor Palmer speak to that in a few minutes about that. We have to increase the footprint back in the community. The church has to regain the respect and the influence that it had before. We got a generation of people who have not been in church, and they've had kids, they haven't been in church. So if you wonder where the breakdown, wherever you are, socially, far left, far right, whatever, I think we would agree that we have to share a common core of morals and values for the community. That's been broken down. Generally, the organization or the entity that ushers that in is the church. So we believe very strongly, not that I'm a big church person, of course, that the church has to play a role. The church has to play a role, period. You can sue me later, is what it is, but that has to happen. Then connect with grassroots community partners to offer programs and services to youth and families. Again, pulling those together. Where's James at? James, this guy right here, we have young leadership that we need to be training and working with, helping them out. He's got a great program that he mentors fathers and families. I know we got Ashley that does the same thing. Deidre does the same thing. We got a ton of people here that if we come together, again, under one umbrella, there's services that need to be rendered or programs that we do it. And we have a unified place for that. So churches that have been part of this, New Bethel Baptist, I don't know if Pastor McAfee is here. He's the one that started all this. He launched this in 2021 with 21 Days of Peace. He is the father of the Benton Harbor movement. It's grown some legs and has moved on. Not moved on, but has grown. Other churches and pastors have come on. And this is, again, just from last couple years to now, not excluding anybody. And we want to add as many as possible, but starting with New Bethel, Greater Grace, obviously I'm partial to them. Bethel Christian Restoration, which is Apostle Palmer, Power of Hope, which you're going to hear from Pastor Doris Montgomery, who's going to lay out in detail the churches a part of this program. On the Life, very funny, Pastor Seats, Grace Christian Center, they're here today. Second Baptist, when we had a disaster, they opened up their doors. They let people come in who didn't have power, who were homeless. That's what we're talking about. That's what the church should be there to do. Yes. So law enforcement operations. Again, I'll talk about that real quick. I'm going to let Captain Brown, you'll have 3 minutes. Exactly. Up to. So law enforcement, again, we cannot be the base and bear all the responsibility, but we do have a part. So for us, we're saying zero tolerance for public order offenses. Public order offenses, what those are, loud music, that type of thing, speeding. Telling our guys, we're short. But remember, I've always said, because we're short, we make no excuse, we still get the job done. We still don't get the job done. So zero tolerance for public order offenses. Those become those gateway offenses that happen, we want to shut those down. We have the MSP, DCP team, which I'll have Captain talk about here in a second. We also we'll do some warrant pickups, some amnesty programs. One of the things we found, guys, the reason why I try to make this holistic, there's a percentage of people who want to say something, but they're a victim, they see a crime happen, but they're scared to, they might have a warrant. And here's the problem. Again, I'm going to be frank, unfortunately, but throw this out. Grant County is not fair that's over there. So a person has to weigh in their mind, do I say something? But also might run me from lien. I got a traffic warrant. I got to work. I got kids to feed. I lose my job, go to jail. I can't work, I lose my job. Now I said something, but now I've lost everything. Can we talk, y'all? That's the truth. That's the truth. We got to have some amnesty. We got to get rid of some of these warrants for people, give them the opportunity to turn themselves in, work with the courts. They got a minimum bond, let them pay it, and they can go back home scot-free. That's very, very important. Again, it's grassroots, it's a holistic approach. Directed drug overdose investigations. This is new. When we talk this, very proud of this. So one of the things that has happened when police always do what we do, we go do a drug arrest, do whatever, get the drugs, money, lots of people, officer next case. we have had obviously proliferation across the country of fentanyl deaths, overdoses. We're cutting heroin with fentanyl. Now they're just straight fentanyl, and people are dying. To Captain's credit and the MSP, they said, you know what, we got to get into the weeds and try to find the drug dealers who are selling this poison and get them. Because on all these overdoses, people are getting away scot-free. Some people might have 10, 20 bodies on their product, and we haven't done anything about that. So we're saying we want to get to the root of the problem, and that is one thing. Captain will give you 3 minutes starting now. If you hurry up, she didn't hit the thing yet. And we work very well together, and also want to say that we were begging Township to let us come over and help. So there you go.
Thank you, Commissioners.
I was talking. Give me 5 seconds back.
Thank you, Commissioners, Chief Abrams, Chief McGinnis. Thanks for inviting me in. It's great to see all the city leaders here. I just want to reinforce the Michigan State Police commitment to the partnership of Benton Township, City of Benton Harbor. As it just moves forward every year, our increased partnership and our working together. So what we're committed to for this year, and a small recap of last year, the Michigan State Police personnel under my command devoted 14,000 hours to assist in the City of Benton Harbor and Benton Township last year. So we're going to do the same again this year with our proactive policing, crime prevention squad. That's what I want them to do, is be visible and prevent crime. I'd rather them not react to crime that has occurred, but they have to do that too. We're going to have bicycle patrols. Our detective units are going to be in an enhanced partnership this year with Benton Township detectives and the 2 state police detectives and the 2 Benton Harbor detectives. So, because there will be things happen, so that 6-person unit should be highly effective this year. The best thing to do is to solve the crime once, so we don't have 3 more crimes behind it. So that's what we want them to do. So, and on the community engagement side, the troopers, we're gonna have bicycle patrols in town. Any community event in the region that you want the troopers and the sergeants at, all you have to do is ask. And I know they have a lot of things planned. That's what I task them to do every week. Is crime prevention, some proactive policing, and engage with the community. So one thing I'm really pleased at is the 3,000 plus interactions that the troopers and sergeants have had in this region. We have very, very few citizen complaints, because I am 100% committed to professionalism by all our police officers. So that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to devote another 15,000 hours to making this community safe, and to partner with the community to keep anyone in this community that wants to stay out of violence, to help them stay out of violence. So Chief, thank you very much. I'm proud to be here, and proud to be your partner. And Chief, proud to be your partner. Thank you. All right.
He lives in the community, so that's why he cares. So, again, law enforcement partners, obviously it's us, Benton Township, MSP, Marion County Sheriff Department, South Michigan Enforcement Team, Marion County Violent Crimes Task Force, we work with them, Marion County Prosecutor's Office, Prosecutor Forensic cannot be here today, his kids are being confirmed, which is fantastic in Kalamazoo, and actually even reached the Michigan Attorney General's office. So, very pleased with that. Grassroots community partnerships and organizations. Actually, I'm making some good time. So, Benton Harbor Prayer Alliance. Again, I'm very big on the church. I'm very big on prayer. I'm very big on trying to affect kind of the atmosphere and the spirit of the town. Okay, we can make the rest, but we got to have somebody else doing some work behind closed doors. So, Benton Harbor Prayer Alliance that somebody started. We pray every month. Once a month we rotate amongst the member churches. This month happens to be Greater Grace again, ironically. Pray Southwest Michigan. Huge. Matter of fact, they probably don't want to be, but we got Sister Carla and Brother Allen back there, who is all over the place. Prayer strikes in Benton Harbor, online, everywhere, conferences. So we thank God for her and the work that they do collectively, because it all works together for the good. Of course, we got the Southwest Ministry Alliance, which we'll hear from briefly in a second. Again, we are getting that back to where prominence it once was, it will be again. Marion County Association of Churches, same thing. Collective Action Alliance, which is led by, of course, Ms. Ashton Hines, and of course, Ben Arbor Success Movement, which we're going to hear probably not so much tonight, but that's another program that we're going to connect with. Brother Ron King runs that, and we're excited to help him with his program. Community Partners, Present Pillars, 400 Black. These are some of the things we talked about as far as uniting programs that help families, youth, children. Ben Arbor Community Development Corporation, Ben Arbor High School, we have a partnership. Rep Roseburg, Ben Arbor Success Movement, we just talked about that. Neighborhood engagement. I'm getting in trouble. I got some people here. I got the names up, but I ain't checking them first. Okay, Deidre. I talked to Rob, to Rich. He already let me have it. But neighborhood engagement. So we want to get block clubs going. We have about 7 that come and go. That's been around for years. We want more. We want them every block, every ward, as much as possible. We want to have neighborhood watches. Again, if you see something, say something. My personal motto is, I'm telling. And I'm going to probably pay for myself some signs to say, I'm telling. You do it, I'm telling. Neighborhood cleanups. We got some people that have done great job. Again, Deidre Fields, Skill Turner. Security camera network. Now we got cameras. We got cameras that will help us in investigations. We put some things together. And there's a program out there that will help unite cameras, give us access to it, where we're hoping down the line very soon, where we can get information from cameras and not even have to put the residents kind of even on Front Street. So that's what we want to do. We understand and respect your confidentiality, your integrity. We don't want to be, on your door. Greg, tell me. I know you saw it. Tell me now. That's not going to work. So that's why we want to have a soft approach that people come and talk to us outside of feeling as if they're socially pressured. Neighborhood social. So get back to that. Good old days. It might sound a little corny, but those things work. All right. To build community. It takes a village to raise a child. We are now seeing what happens when the village doesn't raise a child anymore. Got that?
Yes.
So we got some people that have helped. Spencer Nesbitt has come to office. President Joseph is spearheading block clubs. Cassandra Booker is emails daily. Shaquille Turner, again, his comedy's really good. Mr. Rappers, great. And these are all citizens of Ben Harbor. Deidre Fields just did a tire cleanup. She's a wonderful person. Nailed it down. She is definitely a fiery personality. Miss Whitelow Perry, who has organized, I'll get to in a little bit, a march we're going to do on Memorial Day for victims of gun violence. So that's one of the things that'll launch us out. That's going to be actually with Pastor McAfee too. So I got to get on. I'm supposed to be here. Public engagement. So we got the Citizen March and some marches that we'll do as a show of unity. We'll have some things at some parks. We'll have some outdoor services with churches. We're coming with food, games, and fun. Again, I don't want to steal Pastor Forrest's thunder. He's going to talk about that in detail. We're going to have some positive and education, social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Our Facebook page is pretty popular. We got several, about 5,000 subscribers. So we want to use that to our advantage, get out positive messages. Some of the things that these groups come together and do to put that information out so that it can be consumed by the public and people know what's going on. I personally hate Facebook, but it's unfortunately a necessary evil, so we got to make the best of it. Public forums. This is going to be huge. Two things I want to do. One is going to be very hard. I'd like to have a forum with maybe some victims of gun violence to talk about the deleterious effects of how it destroys the family on both sides. You have victims that now you have lost a son, a brother, a grandson, an uncle, a cousin. On the suspect side, you've lost a son, a brother, a cousin, all of that. So it's a spider effect all through on both sides. I'd love to be able to have some people from their own mouths explain to our youth, here's what happens when you pick that up. If you don't get it, It might sound cool in a rap video, but here's what happens that goes the spider webs just on and on and on. So I want to talk about that. The other one, Pastor McAfee and I are planning on doing a couple of forums that we want to do at Ben Arbor High School and at the Teen Center, just strictly for youth, on some historical perspectives for the history of Black people in the country and why we shouldn't kill each other from a historical perspective. It's one thing to say, don't get that done, but if you don't have a historical perspective. So, for example, I'm gonna do one on the curse of Willie Lynch. You know what that is, but that was a guy who actually wrote the subscription for enslavers to enslave Black people, and he said, if you do these things, it will last for 40 years. Gee whiz. Gee whiz. We want our young people, our young sons and daughters to know who they are and who they are, and hopefully make better decisions so Black lives matter to Black people. I said that. Black lives matter to Black people.
Yes.
So we're going to do that. Then, of course, Chat with the Chief will return May 30th. I'm moving it to Tuesday. More on that. But that was very positive, and that's what really helped the discussion, getting people to call in and subsequently submit tips and whatnot. Last, before I turn it over, the incident response team. Again, that's going to be comprised of pastors. Right now, as we build that, I got Pastor Palmer. Of course, I have my mentor, Reverend Taylor, Pastor Ken Robinson from Second Baptist, Pastor McAfee, who has been doing this forever. We need as many pastors as possible. So again, when something happens, they are mobilized. They'll either come to the scene, give the family members, try to bring some peace, whatever that is. If need be, a lot of times, by the time they mobilize, maybe the victim might get to the hospital. The team goes to the hospital, helps to facilitate their doctor's coverage, treatment. If there's a decedent, to get the family in the room to start the process. If it's a fire, making sure they connect with Red Cross, getting them shelter, getting them food, making the phone calls the next day. Little Pookie won't be at school maybe for the next few days. Call the job. Even down to, again, funeral arrangements to help. And it's just a couple things. To help people, again, we got to help each other. It comes from us, for us, by us. As it says, FUBU, those type of things. So when we launch this out, so the first thing we'll have in May, again, I'm going to turn it over to first Pastor Palmer, who's going to say some words. I think, how many time you got? You got 3 minutes too. So we're going to launch that off. Then we're going to give the floor to Pastor Torres. There you go. And we're going to talk in depth about Operation Safe Space, how it's going to work from the churches and the organizations that I just talked about. So May 25th, third. No, hold on. All right, I got this. So next prayer meeting, Greater Grace, the 6:30. The march I talked about. I'm sorry. Operation Safe Space will launch. The multi-apartment complexes are around on the 27th, I believe. Then on 29th, on Memorial Day, we will have a citizen march starting at 3 o'clock from the high school. We're going to march on Empire to Sykes Park. That's the little park across the street from Sunny Spot. And we're going to just, victims will have their opportunity. I don't know if Mr. Pete is here. Have the opportunity to speak, sing, whatever they do, laugh, cry, hug, whatever, to remember that. And I'm in here. Remember last year, I kind of had a meltdown on TV because I was so mad about another young man being murdered for no reason, and no one was anything. For those of you who saw the video, there were no less than 800 people that were there. No less. But we are Ben Harbor. We got him, I think, in custody and sentenced. So it all worked out. And since then, we've now seen the move of the people getting involved in the community. So with that being said, I'd like to bring up Pastor Palmer. He's going to talk about whatever he's going to talk about, the importance of the alliance, the churches coming together. Then we'll bring up Pastor Montgomery. He'll go over Operation Safe Space and the logistics of that. So because I'm a preacher, do I get it?
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
We'll use the latitude.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Pastor Andre Palmer of the Southwestern Michigan Ministerial Alliance. I am also the Vice President of the Barron County Association of Churches and Senior Pastor of Bethel Christian Restoration Center. I'm excited about this opportunity to collab with Harbor of Hope, Dr. Torres Montgomery, and the Harbor Police Department and the Benton Township Police Department in this collaborative effort called Operation Safe Space. And so the church plays a vital role in the community. And I just want to start out by saying, first of all, that prayer started this thing a couple of years ago in these chambers under the leadership of Pastor Maurice McAfee. And he took us on the 21-day prayer initiative. And we went to various locations throughout the city and we prayed. And from there, last year, Pastor Torres, you guys saw the signs all across the city where we had the Stop the Violence tour, where we were moving around the city, encouraging people to stop the violence, encouraging the youth to put the guns down. This year is Operation Safe Space, and again, I'm excited about this collaboration. Churches are vital because we have to now become, and this is the challenge for my pastors who are in the Alliance and those who are a part of the Barron County Association of Churches, that we come outside of the four walls and we begin to engage the community in a greater way. So I remember back in the day where the church was a one-stop shop. You could come and get spiritual help. There were also other resources, information being disseminated, and things going on in the church. I'm out of time. Go ahead.
No.
Oh,
Turn it off.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm being So, but it's important and it's vital for the churches to, as we pray and as we come together, it does my heart well because as I've been sharing with the Alliance, we are better together and we are able to collaborate and across denominational lines. It's not about a particular denomination. It's all about us improving the relationships with the people in this community and stopping the gun violence, slowing it down. As a matter of fact, in 2021, when we did the 21-day prayer initiative, for 6 weeks, we didn't see any gun violence. So again, I believe when the churches show up and we do what we're supposed to do, and we collab, and we love on each other, and we fellowship as we're going into these housing developments, food, fund, shelter, fellowship. I don't want to take Pastor Torres' still his thunder today, but I just really want to encourage the churches to be a part of this and the community and all of the stakeholders to be a part of this Operation Safe Space. That's my time. Thank you all.
Pastor, forgive me, I forgot about, I skipped over Chief Abrams. I know you don't say, say something, man. That was terrible.
Just skip.
Just wrap me up.
No, sir, not this time. But I will stand up and say this real quick. For far too long, I've sat behind the scenes doing my own work with the neighborhood. Neighborhood watch program was hired back in the day to nationalize out that me and Chief became started for our whole community because everybody just didn't do the part. Those were things that him and I looked at and said, wow, we can do something about that. So when I was elected to the position by my township supervisor, we had the same philosophy on that we need to make a change. And it's been long overdue for the city and the township to combine our services together. We are 4902, so we want to give our community the best service that we can. And we know that a lot of departments are running short, and so are we, but we invited the MSD who has been great in helping us to hold forward with some of the things we want to do. We want to do everything we can to make sure that we accommodate them whatever they need. I appreciate you guys' help. Really, these are things that I get excited because it's like, man, these are things I've been wanting for so long. And my mom still lives in this community, so I have a stake here. I got to keep them safe. And by doing that, I keep everybody else safe also. But we are going to, we are in the midst of hiring. We have 5 applicants who have applied to my department since I've got it put in place. We have one that's already in the cabinet as of May 8th. philosophies we share and combine the resources. There's so much that I need to get on board with that Pastor Gibbs and Chief Gibbs has started that I'm still working my way through. We're only 5 months into the program, me and myself and Deputy Chief. But we are making strides. We have to undo, as far as I know, at least 20 years of this service that we've done to the community, from my standpoint. So open up the field, we're going to try to do the best in this community that we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Without further ado, Pastor Torrance Montgomery of Power of Hope, and he's back. So that was it.
In a good way, I hope. I want to be locked up. Well, first of all, I want to, give praise and glory to God for blessing us with a set of police chiefs who love the Lord. Come on, you can clap. And you see the value of the church. Praise God for my clergy brethren who are here today. And so what I want to do is, my congregation tell me often, well, not all of them, just a few of them, I'm referring to my staff, some of them here right now, that I preach long. And they right. When I get into it, I'm going long. So to discipline myself today, I actually have some of what I want to say on the video. All right, the video is about 3.5 minutes. So I'm gonna play the video, and after I play the video, I'm going to talk about the how. All right. So hopefully everything works out well. All right.
Look, I need to keep it 100 with you. During the summer, over the past few years, our community has suffered from gun violence. This often leaves our young people feeling unsafe to go outside and unmotivated to even dream or pursue their dreams. And I've come to realize that a lot of our young people are unaware of the local opportunities within our community that can help them advance beyond the negativity they see. And when you don't know, you don't grow. And this makes it easier for them to get in trouble, drop out of school, get caught up in the system. This cycle has left so many young men and so many young ladies underdeveloped, never realizing their full potential. Look, my congregation has been touched in a real and personal way by 3 acts of gun violence, all within a year. So we felt compelled to do something. Last year, we launched the Stop the Violence Tour. We went to several different communities and did some programs for the youth. We prayed with over 500 people, and we reached over 1,500 people with the message of nonviolence. While we celebrated the success of the Stop the Violence Tour, we knew that it was only the beginning. We knew that there was more work to be done, so we started to prepare for this summer. We began to imagine what it would look like to have a peaceful and violence-free summer. We began to imagine what it would look like to create spaces where families can feel safe, heard, seen, and valued. What it would look like to create spaces where young people can be educated on resolving conflict, processing anger, and making healthy choices. What it would look like to create spaces where they come to be inspired to dream big, set goals, and take complete ownership of their success. What it would look like to create spaces where families can be empowered to lead and make an impact in their own respective community. And because we knew that we can't do this by ourselves, we asked the question, what would it look like to collaborate with other organizations and other churches to create these spaces, to make young people aware of the resources, jobs, and opportunities that exist right here in our city that'll help them to rise and go to that next level. It's with these things in mind that we are excited to announce the follow-up to the Stop the Violence Tour. We're calling it Ben Harbor's Operation Safe Space. It's a 9-week violence prevention program designed to create accessible, safe spaces in under-resourced communities. It's a program that empowers and mentors youth and families to rise up and lead the way for a violence-free summer in our community. We're running it from June 3rd to August 6th, 2023. So what's the goal? The goal is to recruit and equip 180 volunteers to create 12 safe spaces in 12 locations to provide 132 programs and reach 5,000 people by August 6, 2023, all for the purpose of reducing acts of gun violence to zero and empowering our young people. So I'm calling all concerned citizens, all organizations, churches, businesses, institutions, and individuals who want to see our community as a safe space to partner with us on this journey. Let's make it a team effort because together, everyone achieves more. Remember, the community suffers a lot, not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. Don't be silent. Help stop the violence. Support Operation Safe Space. Now that you know, let's go.
So this is actually a video that is going on the website. We'll make several other videos, kind of put it out there. I'm gonna do something that the chief just did. Gonna volunteer a couple of people, himself included, as well as Pastor Palmer and any other pastor for that matter. I have a team. This guy is a one-man wrecking crew right here behind the camera, and he's the one who creates the videos for us. And so we have all the setup, we have everything. Yep. When you talk about winning back or getting that influence back in the community, they need to see our faces, right? They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. So we need to be on Facebook, we need to be on Instagram. They need to see us, right? They need to see us not just on social media, but physically present. And we'll talk a little bit about that and what that looks like as well. So we need some more infomercials, right? This will be on the website, BenHarborSafeSpace.com or SafeSpaceBenHarbor.com. And so you'll have a chance to go there. Now, for more details, more information, I can't break down all the exact details. I'm just trying to give you enough to whet your appetite a little bit on today. But on Saturday, May 27th, all right, Saturday, May 27th at 4 p.m., there will be a interest meeting, right? So we'll blast this out, and if you can help us with that, when you see it on Facebook, you can help blast it out, just share it, and let people know that there is an interest meeting to get the greater details as to what I'm going to share with you on today. I'm going to give you some details, but we'll be here for a long time if we went into all of that. Put together a handbook to make it simple enough for everybody to be able to get it, right? So our goal is to get 180 volunteers, and we need you to be one of those volunteers. We will show you everything you need to know so that you know what to do, all right? And so here's how it works, all right? In three simple phases. The first phase is volunteer orientation, all right? We're going to show you, I'm going to break it down. I'll talk a little bit about what that means as well. And then there's program implementation and program evaluation, all right? Orientation, implementation, evaluation. I wanted to be a rapper before I became a pastor, so I got to be a rapper, all right? So the first is volunteer orientation, okay? So it's 5 steps to this. Number one, if you sign up and say, you know what, I want to be a part of this, then you can join one of our teams, right? You'll be assigned to one of our teams. We have 4 teams at my church right now. You'll be assigned to one of our teams. Or if you're a pastor, this is what I really pray and hope will really happen. If you're a pastor or you have a group of people that follow you, you say, look, I want to bring my team, right? And then we'll say, hey, well, praise God. Well, look, we have a strategy, we have a program that we can show you and give you. And truth be told, you don't even have to follow that program, all right? What I want to see is people in the community serving the community, all right? Whatever that looks like to you, that's great. But what I want to do is I want to be able to provide a resource to you that we've used before, that has proven to be effective. We know that because the people say, hey, when are you guys coming back? Can you come back next week? Can you come back tomorrow? You know, that's kind of how the kids respond. They want you to be there all the time. So you can either be assigned to one of our teams or bring your team. We need 8 teams, right? We had 8 churches or just 8 teams in general. We can hit these 12 locations that I'm going to show you here soon. So the third thing is, if you are bringing your own team and you're interested in doing the things the way, running the program the way that we run it, then the first thing would be for you to come and observe with us, right? We'll have a time frame for that from June 3rd to June 10th, where we're going to go out every day to these 4 different locations that we've already kind of committed to going to. And you'll get a chance to see, this is what it looks like. Okay, yep, we can do that. We can't do that. And you show us exactly how you did that, right? Or we're not going to do that when we go out and do it on our own. I just want you to see first, right, what it looks like. And then number 4, you'll be assigned a location. There's 12 locations I'm going to show you here shortly. And then number 5, you'll have a program to serve that location. All right, so we need 12 teams. The orange teams represent the 4 teams that we already have. And then the other 8 right there represent the teams that we're looking to have, all right? So these are the 12 different locations. Now, I've been in Harbor for a little over 10 years now. Man, time flies, especially when you're having fun. I've been in Mill Harbor for about 10 years now, and it has been my experience where, we go to these communities, and to be honest with you, we've had people tell us, man, y'all are crazy for going out there, right? Man, it's dangerous out there, right? Well, I come from a community like that. I'm not from Benton Harbor. I was born and raised in Benton Harbor, but I was born and raised in Benton Harbor, right? I know what it's like to get shot at. I know what it's like to have a gun and carry a gun. I know what those things are like. I know what it's like to be a lost young person. I get that, right? And so for those reasons, I want to go to the places where people say don't go.
Yes.
That's why I want to go.
Yes.
That's why I want my church to go. Right? Let's go where the people say don't go. Let's go where they say it's dangerous. Because the God I serve is more powerful and dangerous than the enemy when we step up in his territory. So I'm not concerned about, those kinds of things, right? And we've never had any incident, any situation go down sideways while we've been in the community. Because I believe that there's a spiritual authority that the church has that a gun can't scare. That listen to me, a uniform can only do so much. But when you step in there, I'm preaching, I'm at church right now. When you step in there with the power of God, something good crazy can happen. Right? I've seen it. So these are the 12 locations that we have been going to over the years. And the ones that are in red are the 3 that we have committed to serve. All right. Now, I did a little research, and what I found is that these numbers here, let me go back to the presentation from the current slide. What I found is, okay, there we go, is that, so these numbers represent the number of units, all right? Now, when you see Pipestone 300, that's not an actual, apartment complex. Most of these are apartment complexes. But Pipestone 300, my church is on Pipestone, 769 Pipestone. So we call it Pipestone 300, the 300 nearest homes around my church, right? These are my nearest neighbors, right? So they get grouped in just because they're my neighbor, all right? So we want to take care of home base, if you will. And so, but the numbers represent the number of units that are in these apartment complexes. That makes sense, City?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you do the calculations according to the U.S. Census Bureau 2021, there are 2.24 people. Now I know there's not such thing as a 0.24 of a person, but you guys did the percentages, right? That's where I'm getting these figures from. Just want you to know where I'm getting these figures from. So that represents 2,321 households, which is 5,197 people that we can reach. That's more than half the population of the city of Benton Harbor. Right? So it becomes possible. I just want you to see how possible it is. Right? It's possible if 12 teams go to these 12 locations. It's very possible. Right? So we're looking for 8 more churches or teams to be able to do this. So that's what this here represents. Right now. So what happens is that circle represents the community, and this represents the church, but we know that the church is not a building, the church is people. So that team is going into that community to serve that particular group of people. Now, here's how we actually grow the number of volunteers. We did this a couple of years ago, and it really changed the game. All right. So I'm at a place in my ministry where the church is not necessarily to go and serve and do the work for the people. Instead, it's to be with the people. Because if you're always doing things for people, those people become dependent on you.
Yes.
But there's so much potential, there's so much power, there's so much leadership right within Highland, right within Berrien Homes, right within Harbor Tower, right within. There's so much potential, there's so much power, there's so many gifts and talents and abilities that our young people have, that families have, that they just haven't tapped into it yet. Right? So when we show up, we're saying, hey, listen, do you want to volunteer to be a part of the program we're going to be doing in your community? And now we got folks who volunteer. One time, the best thing ever happened. I've been doing ministry for 20 years now, right? A little bit more than that. I know I don't look like it. But I've been doing ministry for a long time. I started this stuff when I was in college. 19 years old, 41 now. So what's that? My math, 21 years, something like that, 22. My son do math better than I do. He's 8. Right foot. But here's what I want you to get. What I want you to get is when we start signing people up to be volunteers in their own community. One time while we were out there, we ran out of food. Best thing that ever happened. Best thing. Why is it the best thing that could have ever happened? It's the best thing that could have ever happened because the people who signed up to be volunteers said, well, you know, Pastor, I got some hot dogs in my house. Let me go and get the hot dogs. I got a grill. Let me go get the grill. I got some charcoal to throw on the grill to get the fire. Oh, you hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They began to take ownership of the program.
Yes. That's it.
So from now on, when we passing out flyers, on the flyer, would you like to volunteer? Right? And so it has this empowering effect to it. Okay. So boom, you got this is the layout right here. All right, and then you have program implementation. You got number 5 now. You got the program. Now it's time to go serve. So number 5, the second thing is program implementation. So the question is, what will the teams do when they go into their respective communities? All right, real simple. First thing, free food. People got to eat. So you bring food, right? Free food. We serve food every time we go out there. Fun games. It may not be basketball. You know, all of the different communities don't necessarily have a basketball court. This is actually something that was, took place in front of my church. But we have a list of games and activities that don't require a basketball court, don't require football. It could be some of those things, but just games, activities that are fun, that kids can participate in, adults participate in. Just have a whole lot of fun together, right? Life lessons. We're talking about making good decisions. We're talking about anger management. We're talking about resolving conflict. This was a little impromptu skit right here that I did with these guys. They were the ones who was acting it out and just kind of walking through the whole, the idea of retaliation, right? And vengeance belongs to God. You don't have to go and retaliate. This is what happens when you do it. You got this whole cycle, right, of things that are happening when that takes place. So we teach life lessons. We want to provide helpful resources, right? We want to have community partners. I love seeing anywhere Ashley is or anywhere James is, it's some good things gonna happen there. All right? Anywhere they are, I'm telling you, it's gonna be some good things that happen. I know a lot of other people here who do great things in the community as well, but I've done work with them. They've approached us. We've approached them. We just had a great working relationship. And in this picture right here, we did a financial literacy event with Wilson. Came to the church and passed out some shoes and just had a really great time. And so we want to provide these helpful resources to the people in those different communities, all right? Of course, we want to pray, right? We want to pray with people, let people know that there is a higher power, that is a purpose and calling that God has on their lives, and so on and so forth, all right? And then ultimately, the goal is to empower the people, right? We want to empower the people, giving them the resources, giving them the hope, the inspiration to believe that, it is possible for me to be all that God created me to be, regardless of the situation and circumstance that I am currently living in. All right. Last but not least, there is program evaluation. All right. And at the end of the day, there's some things, some metrics that we're tracking. And at the end of the day, the question is how did it go? Did it work? Did it work? Were the people blessed by it? Right? Do we see any type of change? Do we see any type of transformation that is taking place? Of course, we know that takes time, but nevertheless, that's the goal. So now, this is not necessarily a Q&A, but the question was asked, Pastor, is this really possible? Is it really possible for the community to not experience gun violence or violence during the summertime? Is that really possible?
Come on.
Right? Is it? Are you wishing upon a star right now? Do you really believe that this is possible? And then there's a scripture that says all things are possible. To the one who believes. Right? If you believe it's possible, then it's possible. Right? So what happens, Pastor, if somebody shoots somebody, somebody get shot during the summertime while we're doing all this? We're gonna keep on doing it. We're gonna keep on serving. We're gonna keep on praying. Right? That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna keep on keeping on. Right? right? Because we have a job. We control what we can control. We control the controllables. And the controllable is our contribution. I can control my time. I can control the program. I can control showing up, right? We're going to control the controllables, and that's how we're going to focus on, right? Now, here's the last thing I'll say this. I do this everywhere I go, and this is who I am. This is where I came from, and this is why I do what I do. The same way I believe it's possible for us to have a violence-free summer is the same way that I believe it's possible for God to change and transform the life of a young man who doesn't know where he's going, or a young lady who doesn't know what she's supposed to be doing with her life. Okay? I'm gonna give you a flashback real quick. All right, this is Taurus Montgomery, BC. BC right there. All right, for those of you who are trying to figure that out, okay, that's before Christ. I got another one for you. There he is right there. 19 years old, clueless about what the purpose God has for his life. I'm in a nightclub right there, doing my thing. Now here's the thing, guys. Everything that you see I got on, a little bling bling, the whole outfit is stolen.
Okay.
But I'm looking like $1,000,000. Like I'm going home to a house. Water off, electricity off, gas off 2 years, rats and roaches out in the house. The neighborhood I grew up in was violent, domestic violence. My father's physically, mentally, emotionally abusing my mother. This is the circumstances I grew up in.
Come on now.
So it made it easy for me to start smoking weed at 12 years old. Easy. It made it easy for me to start carrying a gun. It made it easy for me to get in trouble. It made it easy for me to break in houses. It made it, the circumstances dictated my situation because I didn't know better. And the best thing happened, my house burned down. Now we homeless. Bouncing around from one house to the next house, to the next house, to the next house. And then there was a family who let me and my family come and live with them. And they told me the value that I had. They told me that God had a purpose and plan for my life. They spoke vision over my life. They began to pour into me the importance of education, but more importantly, what it means to surrender my life to the Lord. That's the reason why I'm standing in City Hall today, talking to people about the goodness of God and what He can do in your life. Otherwise, I used to be on the other side of this. Now I'm on the same team. I used to be on the other side, Chief. I used to be on the other side. But look, I'm a living witness as to what God can do. Hear me. When the church shows up.
Say it again.
I'm a living witness of what God can do when the church shows up to serve the people. Those folks ain't charged me and my family nothing. Me, my mom, and my 3 little brothers, we stayed with them for 2 years for free. They wouldn't ask me anything in return. They come to church with us. How you gonna say no? Right? So listen, I want to remind you, volunteer interest meeting. If you're here right now, I'm appealing to you to be present. Just come. You don't have to commit to being a part of it. I just want you to come. I want you to encourage other people to come. And you're gonna get the details. You're gonna get the time commitment as to what asking you to do. At the very minimum, if you showed up one time, it's a 3-hour commitment. Just one time, right? Just one time. If you're a pastor here, I'm asking you to bring your members. Come show up. We'll probably even connect offline sometime before May 27th with all the pastors to see who wants to get involved and who wants to adopt in the community. But beyond that, guys, look, thank you all so much for your time. All of you who serve here, thank you so much for everything that you do for the city. God bless you.
Thank you, Director McGinnis, all the people that spoke. Definitely coming from a police background myself, and it's just good to see some of the people I work with, some of the people I even recruited. When I heard that Greg was up for chief and heard some of his interview, and he talked about community policing, So that's my boy. He came in, back during the time when, matter of fact, the city of Benton Harbor, and I remember the date, June of 1st of 1993, the city of Benton Harbor Commission voted unanimously to adopt community policing as the official philosophy of the city of Benton Harbor. Through the lines, that's been a buzzword. A lot of communities tried it, but a lot of them failed because they wanted to do community policing without the community in it. And it just didn't work. They kind of looked at it backwards, policing the community, but community policing. This is what happens when you embrace the philosophy of community policing, that all stakeholders, all citizens, all stakeholders in their community come together and do whatever they can, whatever they can do to make the community a place for everybody. So I am definitely pleased to see this come, this far. I guess, as an old guy, they say Moses didn't, I guess he seen the promised land, but he didn't make it. So maybe I'll make it. So it's good to see. Thank you, everybody, who presented. It's, bringing this community together. I'm glad the collaboration with the township. We are one, 49022. We all cross those. That's just a jurisdictional line, but we all family. We got family members across the line. We got relatives go to church. We see each other in the different stores and stuff. This is one community, and it's going to take the whole community to make this a great place. It's really good. You can see how it brought 7 of the 9 commissioners to the Public Safety Committee meeting. It's that's coming together. So we're looking forward to see the great work. Whatever I can do, I'm in. That's my promise. So thank you, everybody. We're going to go ahead and move to the next item on the agenda. I don't know if we can take. We'll take about 5 minutes for some comments. We got Miss Yates here. Miss Yates. Can you say just a couple of words here or something? Please. Thank you.
I'm pleased to be here tonight. This is a moment that I've been waiting for. When Greg came to me and we talked about some ideas, community policing was one of the things that I've wanted to be within her. I've been talking to your city manager and your assistant city manager because we are one. Our people thrive together, and now we want to make this a bigger and better place. I believe in unity, and through unity, with these guys by my side, we're going to be successful. I'm looking for a peaceful summer where everyone will enjoy, have fun, and enjoy things.
Thank you.
So
thank you. 30 seconds. Come on, Commissioner.
I just want to thank Officer Abrams, and I truly believe that this is a day that the Lord has made. I was listening, serving a client, getting ready to hit the highway, and I was listening on YouTube, and it was going in and out, and I'm like, I'm missing this meeting that I had no intention of missing, but this came up last minute. But I remember having a conversation with you in the store months before you were actually given the award of the position that you hold. And I'm just grateful that you have stood by your word, and just being here today proves that you are a man of your word. And I'm looking forward to the things that we can do together as a county, as a whole, on all levels of improving public safety in our communities. Thank you.
Okay, quick, any other commissioners is here want to make a quick comment? Good. 30 seconds, please.
30 seconds, I would just like to say on committee and knowing the chief and some of the other officers, make it quick and short, still on that track. There's a statement, angels fail, some angels were sent. Which one are we going to be? Thank you, chief, and all those of you involved.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? All right. The other, we're gonna hold up because we'll have a comment session at the end of this, sir. Okay. Mhm. All right. At this time, we like to move on to the, what do you? No, this don't require a resolution. It's just presentation. So, okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Northern Construction Services Corporation for the contract for 2023 local streets and alleys reconstruction project. Mr. Manager.
Just give them a few minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just gonna get the chair.
Okay.
To the other commissioners. I told you it was coming. Here it is tonight. Jason, can you come up there? Later, let's stand.
Fire.
No, this is, I think this is quite, this might cover the whole city here. Let's see here.
Income tax.
Yep. Can you pull that mic up a little closer so it is, oh, don't worry about it. She says, it's big loud. Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Jason Marker with Admarsh, prosecutor engineer with Admarsh. This next item on the agenda, like Commissioner Singleton said, is the consideration of an award of a project for resurfacing and alley improvements for what we were calling the 2023 local streets and alley improvements project. On April 28th, the city did receive bids, or received one bid, but they had a project that went out for bid, and the bid opening date was April 28th. The project includes, as it was priced out by contractors, several streets to be resurfaced, some pothole repairs throughout the city, some storm improvements at Britton Avenue Bridge, some alley improvements at select locations throughout the alley or city, catch basin cleaning and cover replacement. So that's something that we've been talking about for quite some time, replacing some of those covers and getting those cleaned out. We had on there Crystal Cemetery paving improvements, so some paving improvements at Crystal Cemetery. And on this package also was included the parking lot repaving at 200 East Main Street, the block parking lot, and also the city center lot. So we put all those scopes together. We put it out as one package for contractors to bid. For the bidding.
Was it what is it? Was it a video presentation?
18 plan holders were registered. The city actually only received one bid on that project. They did meet the 25% local minority participation that was required. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. And they also submitted Northern ended up submitting the bid bonds and acknowledged all the addendum and non-inclusion affidavits. So the only bid that the city received was from Northern Construction Services. They are out in Niles, Michigan. They recently completed the Maple and Vineyard project a few years ago that was part of the larger infrastructure improvements that included water, sanitary, and storm improvements. Like I said, they did have a minority participation that they are looking to subcontract with these contractors as part of some of the work. I think they're setting them up to do a lot of catch basin cleaning, cover replacements, and adjustments. Like I said, Northern did complete successful projects in the past. They did recently did the Maple and Vineyard project. just a couple of years back, and their bid amount was $2,232,817. Just a little bit for, I think, the alleys that we were projecting, and it's in the resolution, or not the resolution, but the award letter, the locations of the alleys and street resurfacing. But just to break those costs down, the street resurfacing scope of work is just over $1 million. The alley resurfacing, now, when we're talking alley resurfacing, what the scope includes is regrading and replacing asphalt millings on those alleys. So those are not going to be paved. Those just get us basically regraded and new gravel surface, new asphalt milling surface. That is $600,000. And I think I did the math. It's almost over 3.5 miles of alleys in the city. The catch basin program is totaled up to $275,000, or just over. The Britton Bridge storm improvements. There's some areas of the storm sewer on Britton Avenue that was that we want to avoid. That goes back to when the sidewalk collapsed. This is on the north side, so there's some storm sewer improvements that need to occur there, so that those structures are working at their optimum level. The cemetery improvements includes some pothole repair, some sealing of the entrance. That pavement's in a little bit better shape than some of the others, and then really some spot asphalt replacements. It's not going to get everything, but to start out there. And that total was $183,000. We did do a kind of a ad hoc pothole repair program as part of this, and what we're basically going to have them do is we're going to locate or identify some locations in the city. One of the locations already was brought up. It was like on McCord Street. But we're going to have a little program that the contractor can do for $32,000, or just under $32,000. And then also we did break out the city center parking resurfacing out there in front of City Hall, and that scope they estimated was $85,000. So that totals up to that $2.2 million that they provided. The other things I have brought the locations kind of to past presentations, but that's all in that document that's been provided, along with the locations of the catch basins that are going to be affected, and also the maps of the other scope items of work. So a lot in there, but we wanted to try to maximize and see what the pricing came in at, and it came in at 2.2. We only had the one bidder, but it was identified as part of the local income tax money for the city. So if presented to move forward, this would be presented to commission on Monday. We would get started and awarded if the award happens. We would likely meet with the contractor, and things would probably start rolling by probably early June, if not sooner. I did put in the city center parking lot, if we wanted to move forward with that I proposed that that would be done before Juneteenth. So that's an option out there. And I would want to make sure we verify that with the contractor, because if there would be any risk for whatever reason that we wouldn't hit the Juneteenth, we would start after that. So make sure that we don't disrupt anything down there. Typical construction methods, a lot of it is the milling and resurfacing of the streets. So for a given time, more likely it's going to be milled surface. They go there and they do these structure adjustments, and they would pay that pretty much right next third or fourth day. And then that during that construction time frame, that road probably will be impacted the most. But we'll do advance notices out to everything if the city wants to move forward with that act. So that's it. But it's an opportunity to kind of move the resurfacing project forward in the city and get started pretty soon. The completion date we put on here was November 3rd, and we set that up just to provide the longest windows for contractor availability, so that the pricing came down to the least amount. Unfortunately, only had one bidder, so a lot of people are busy out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Commissioner,
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you for coming in, Jason. So last year, when they was doing something in the park, I think it was the water line or whatever, and they brought in equipment. And being a catcher, the worst thing to do is have a bunch of foul ball and dig it way out. Will there be any equipment left where Juneteenth had to work around at this time? That was the problem.
Yeah, I remember last year, I remember even that equipment leaving on that Friday afternoon, and out of the side. I think they might have even put it in one of the city parking lots outside of that city center. But we would make sure that would happen. They would have to be completely out of there before that Thursday, Friday. And I don't think we would want to commit to it if that wasn't the case, if we have weather delays or award delays or anything like that. So we would make sure that would happen.
Appreciate that.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Yeah, I requested, I sent an email about a month ago, because we did have that problem before Juneteenth last year, digging and all that. So I requested, and I'm requesting to you that the construction starts after the Juneteenth.
That's fine too. That's fine too, yeah.
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you. You spoke of city parking lot project. Is that in the city Pete Mitchell's park?
Yeah, the city park over here where the concerts and everything are by the farmers market.
So you're gonna resurface that whole parking lot?
That's what this scope includes, yes.
And you're gonna resurface it with what kind of material?
So it's an existing asphalt lot, so we would just resurface the top 2 inches of asphalt.
Will you make sure that you secure the drainage, the levering, that it drains off? Because when I see the work that was done on the streets, we still have water standing in our streets on a frozen day. And I'd hate to see that happen with asphalt in our parking lot. So I need through the chair and city manager to give us a full detail of that surface that this parking lot is, because we use it a lot.
Mhm.
It's our parking lot, and we want to make sure it's to our liking and to our use. So through the chair and the city manager, would like to have that information duly noted or not.
Duly noted. Come on. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then I want to ask you about the alleys. I'm looking at the map,
One check.
and
We
I
gotta
can't
move
figure
on.
out
We got too much stuff.
the green or the gray, or what exactly are these indicating? Where are the alleys?
Yeah.
Because you know my thought is third ward, and that if we have these traditionally bad alleys, I wanted to make sure each one of my constituents was satisfied with come November.
Yep, a majority of the work is south of Empire. And all those dots, or all those numbers and all those green lines, those are all alleys that were identified in the city.
Okay, and so these numbers mean,
Actually, the map that we had, when we put out for bid, it's, we gave the contractor an idea of what to expect. They were just numbers of a picture, is what they were. So I didn't take the numbers off.
oh, okay.
So, yeah, so.
All right. So let me ask this question about, the city spent a lot of money on machine to heat up asphalt and do our own repotting. So how does that work through the chair and the city manager now that we're gonna send it out to a contract? Save money.
Mr. Manager, you got it.
That's through the chair and the city manager.
Question was, the
Pothole.
pothole machine that we have, how is it?
we're going to do a comprehensive program to get those potholes. We're not gonna just go out and do some of them, trying to get them all. And we've identified the areas. Most of it's in the south side.
Is trying to do it,
Not Public Works, we have them in the bid pack.
oh, in the bid pack? Oh, okay. So how does that work when we already spent this money for equipment and everything we needed for potholes?
We have potholes and it's not a major project and we'll be filling those potholes.
So we're gonna pay out of source to do it, and we're gonna pay Public Works to do it too?
Public Works will do it when we have potholes that are identified
I'm
that are
sorry,
not a part of the project.
okay. Is the potholes indicated on your map somewhere?
They're not.
We don't know what it is.
We gave an idea where some few were. We did get some comments from others, like McCord Street, like the center joint was is falling apart there. But what we would do is we would have to go out, we'd have to identify them. And we're gonna, city staff or Adam Marsh would mark these all out, and we would get essentially 2 days worth of full production of filling potholes. We did it that way to try to keep the pricing down. If we just go out and do potholes Monday this week and maybe another day, a couple weeks later, this is a mass production of potholes for the day. So they all have to be identified still. So if there's actually opportunities for anyone to bring up potholes, locations, we would put them right on the list. Otherwise, we're gonna drive around, we're gonna end up identifying them. Probably put a comprehensive list together for the contractor and have them go ahead and complete those.
Okay.
We only estimated a certain amount of tonnage for them to price out in the package.
You estimated a certain amount of tonnage of
Yes.
material?
Yep.
And how many potholes did you, that's gonna be able to fill at that money? At that amount?
It all depends too, if a pothole is 4 or 5 inches deep, it's gonna take more tonnage, and if like that center line that we were talking about, that center line joint and the board, that's like a 2 or 3 inch opening, so it's gonna take less amount. So we just put basically a quantity for them to price that out. We don't have like a set. This is really for if we're resurfacing a road and we're gonna stop at this block, but just on the other side of the intersection where we're not gonna do a full replacement. We're okay. Well, let's go address that while they're there. Let's identify those, because we're not gonna be able to resurface everything. So it's really just an estimate to get that pricing in line.
And when you-
for the contractor to do that.
When you present this to the body, next week, will you put, that amount, what you estimated? I need to know.
I can estimate how much tonnage you have in this project, kind of. And I'll-
Well, you got a price that you
Yeah.
already, so.
Yeah, I can estimate like it's gonna fill some typical measurement potholes, 2 inches depth, and I can get that number.
And will you have the location by the time next Monday comes?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that.
That's tough.
I can try.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
You can try.
I can try.
I'll ask the police department and everybody
Yeah.
else that's roaming around in the city getting paid to make a note of the pothole.
Yeah.
And that might help. Can we do that through the chair, through the city manager? Residents can do that.
That's not the same as an engineer looking at it.
I'm sorry?
That's not the same as an engineer looking at potholes.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna, if you don't have that information, you're gonna take that out of the proposal?
It's up to you guys. Yes, it could be taken completely out.
Well, I'm in 100% of getting 100% of whatever is going on and how much it costs and who's gonna do it. So I'm suggesting to you that you provide us everything about this project. How much money you want, who's gonna do it,
everything. Because it's really important. Come up one week and the next week you want approval. So I want everything that you are presenting as proof that it's gonna happen and why it's gonna happen, everything. I want a comprehensive report on it. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem, vote yes. Because time matters, and you're using our citizens' money, the income tax money. That's really important that the citizens hear that this project, another project, is using income tax money. So for me, I really need information, true information. I thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Henry. Commissioner Isom, then we'll.
Yes, just one thing I want to say, that this is taxpayer money. Taxpayer, this is our money. People that worked hard and paid their taxes, the city income tax. I think we got to look at this real hard. I don't know why this didn't come through personnel and finance, but the alleys, they're in despair, so I don't know if you're going to clean up the alleys. Just, we got bushes hanging and trash stuff.
As part of the scope, it's to remove some of those overgrowth and remove the trash debris out there in some of those alleys. It's really, when I drove them with Public Works, there's some big divots, big holes back there on some of those access points for those homes. So this project is going to level all that out and provide a 6-inch mill surface out there on those locations. So, but yes, you're right. There's trash. There's some of those old sticker bushes or sucker bushes that are growing out that probably will have to come out.
I just don't know why this came out now. I don't know. You've been working on this for a while, right? So
yeah, we wanted to look at adding some of the cemetery comments to the improvements. What else held that up? I think it was the alleys was really the biggest part that we had to add just in the last month and a half, 2 months. So after everything unfroze and thawed out, Public Works talked to us about adding a significant portion of alley work to the program.
I'm sure Monday, if it's on the agenda, I'm sure we're gonna go through a lot of more questions.
Commissioner Allen, one last shot.
Chairman Singleton, and it's been like, what, 2 years now? Been begging and pleading. What happened to the Income Tax Advisory Committee? So that we could talk and discuss and have these type of things in order to where we wouldn't have to be right here, right now, and waiting to get the answers that we need instead of being a part of the decision making. I'm glad that you, however, added the cemetery, some of those bad roads that a lot of our family members have been complaining about. The sinkhole, there was a big sinkhole out here in City Center Park. I'm hoping that somebody takes care of that as opposed to the pavement that needs to be going on. But we need to start looking at asphalt, period, because it runs off and it has a chemical in it. It's getting into our drinking water and stuff. And we're talking about climate change. I mean, we have to look at the whole picture and not just with just my lenses, but everybody's, and being a part of the conversation moving forward. All of these things work together and we have to work together. And I thought that we were doing a better job at communicating. Wow. I mean, no mention of sidewalks. And the biggest problem I have is the South End of Empire that we had a discussion about several weeks ago that was presented, that I think you mentioned from Colfax down to the river. I think that it needs to start at least Empire. It actually needs to be the whole Empire or none at all, because Empire is really in bad shape. And the whole thing needs to be done. And I'm praying once again, and I've been singing this song ever since we started taxing the residents of Ben Harbor and those that come in and work, to fix the infrastructure underneath. instead of putting a Band-Aid over things and then having to go back and fix a thing again and then put, it just makes sense. And I'm hoping that we're doing that, putting things in order to where it's saving us and not, and first and foremost, the percentage of residents that are getting some of these federal jobs from these contractors. I'm still waiting on a list that I keep asking every Thursday meeting, 10 o'clock. Somewhere along the way, I asked for that. Jolie did come by a few days ago after our last meeting to look at some of the property damage, and I've gotten some addresses of some residents that are very unhappy with the way that some of the lead line contractors left their property on the tree lines. So I'm just hoping that we can do better. I need answers. Are we supposed to approve this Monday?
Thank you, Commissioner Adams, for your comments. Okay.
Maybe people be looking at us.
From the audience, Ms. Kennard.
Yes. I'd like to just address, as my commissioner of the third ward mentioned, our third ward suffers a lot. The alleys. The alleys look deplorable. I mean, this is public safety, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Local public safety. If there was an incident that they had to use the alleys, the big sinkholes or something, and I did hear the gentleman that did the presentation mentioned that there are big sinkholes, and that's very important that we get those leveled out and fixed, because we've gone so long without these alleys being fixed. Miss Mary Carter, she cried many times. She's passed away some years now, but she was crying about those alleys for years. So we'd like to see something come about now, is fixing those alleys. And this is the third ward. And if you were to go to Milton Street, the alley of Milton Street, just drive down May Street and go to Milton and look to your left or to your right of that alley. It's ridiculous. I've never seen old couches that's been out there probably about 20 years and everything else that's out there. So it's time for things to be cleaned up. A lot of times I have the Fresh Start Children's Garden, the media is there to see this, and it looks like it's very poor housekeeping when it comes to that. And one of the things I wanted to mention about the fixing of the places that need the sinkholes in our streets. There's a place on May Street, if you're going down, you can see the levels of, I guess, the top layers of what they had put on at one time. It's got big craters all the way. And I want to know, is this the same technique that you're going to do again? And maybe about so many years, we're dealing with this and spending millions of dollars on this. Are we going to have to look at places that you all just poured something over, and during the winter or whatever, it expands and breaks apart? Is this something that we're going to have to deal with in the next 5, 10 years or whatever? Because, we do have these heavy vehicles that goes up and down these streets. And at certain times there are, the materials is more vulnerable. So I'd like to know if these materials that you're using are gonna hold up under the different pressures of traffic and things that we have.
You want to just?
Yeah, all the asphalt mixes are MDOT state approved mixes. I would say for the most part, all the streets that have been resurfaced as far as the local street projects, or even the full reconstruct projects, those look in really good shape out there. What you might, be thinking about is a pothole patch is a pothole patch. It's filling a void in the pavement that's not very big. So in the future, unless you did a full replacement of that pavement, you still possibly could get water in there that pops that out over years. You gotta continue to maintain your potholes. I mean, you really do. But so in this package, just for a magnitude of scope, the potholes that is programmed here is $30,000. The street resurfacing is $1 million. So we're doing a lot more street resurfacing than addressing the potholes.
Mhm.
So and then when we do resurface the roads, we get we do asphalt testing of the mixes. We make sure that they meet that spec.
So you're saying the life expectancy of what you're putting down is,
Asphalt generally will, the Asphalt Institute of America will say that asphalt pavements should have a life of about 20 years. If they're crack sealed, if
Maintain.
they're maintained and everything, they'll have a lifespan of 20 years. The winters in Michigan do cause some challenges to asphalt.
Mhm.
If you wanted to look at changing your program to concrete,
Yeah.
I can run the numbers,
Do please.
but I think you probably would be doing a half a mile.
Yep, yeah.
That's okay.
So yeah,
we should.
but yeah, that's something that we can investigate in the
Okay.
future. It's hard, the milling and resurfacing a street is pretty much a standard practice for resurfacing a roadway. I noticed, I just saw St. Joseph just did a few streets, similar to what you guys are doing. They're doing it in the spring. And that's what you kind of maintain. And those pavements over there, the ones that they did, actually, I remember because I inspected them when I first started at our company in 2004, so they're 20 years old. And they're resurfacing the same roads that they built 20 years ago.
Chairman,
Thank
can
you.
I ask you a question? Is the place out in All Clair a concrete recycling place? I just passed through there the other day.
I don't know, but we got several items left. So thank you, Jason, for coming.
One more other question. I'm trying to get a perspective of Third Ward. And for years,
Recycling.
I've been talking about the alley that my constituents have to use to get into their residence. Is that the chair and city manager, because you've heard me prior about this, I'm trying to see if these two are gonna solve the problem that my constituents are having. I can't see where that particular area is being serviced. So,
I'll provide that map to you tomorrow.
okay.
Yep.
Consensus to move this on, chair, co-chair. Okay. Mr. Duncan, go ahead, quick.
I had a concern about the plate in the middle of the street on Broadway. It rattles every time something goes over it. I did ask and I asked Nice about it, and it's still going on. So I'm gonna do the same thing tonight. Ask about it and hope you guys will keep that on your agenda to quiet that drain cap down. If you will.
It's some-
Chair.
Yeah, that's something you're gonna look into.
Noted on that?
Yeah, we duly noted. And he's shaking his head. Yep, they're gonna look at that. So, okay.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move this on, Madam Clerk. All right, next item on the agenda is a resolution for approval of memorandum of agreement between the city of Benton Harbor and the state of Michigan Treasury. Mr. Manager, Mr. Little.
Yes, the resolution is to ask the commission for formal acceptance of those memos. That's a discussion that started with Treasury quite a long time ago, and in the process, the documents didn't come and go as they should have, and we forgot to bring it back to the commission. So we'd like to simply have those accepted. One will pay $45,900 of contract with Pearson Road, who is doing an assessment of the final figures and so forth on the lead line replacement project, and going to provide answers to some of the questions in summary fashion that we've been talking about. How much went to employees from Dutch Harbor versus some other factors like that. The second one for $100,000 will is a grant to the city that would be used to offset some of our regular accounting costs. And I would have been bringing it before the finance committee. I'm going to be out of town this week, and we need to move this along.
So in essence, the state is granting us 140 something thousand to offset some costs that we. Mhm. Okay. Coach, you. We got a question? No questions. Okay. All right. Move forward. Item number 6. The resolution for approval of 2 6-month extension of the option for the Project T site at 968 Garrett Avenue and 807 Wells Street. What is it? And the zoning change to planned development. Mr.
As I believe most of you are aware, short time back, Project T did submit to Michigan for the low-income tax credit funding round. This project, we were not successful because of the rating structure that Michigan used. Issues like walkability and some other things, which we've had subsequent discussions with Michigan about as to why and what sense of logic did. But beyond that, we've had also additional discussions with projects. And they are wanting to go ahead and proceed. We're going to be applying for funding for missing middle housing, and we'll still have the other 4-story structure built into the project. So to go ahead and provide these 2 6-month extensions, which were provided for in the initial option that we gave. And we simply advancing that forward. And also, you will recall that some months ago you revised the PUD ordinance that in fact, we needed to do it because it didn't fit the zone where Project T is now, but we actually, with the help of McKenna, we actually went a step further and made it so that anyone with property of 1.5 acres could make a request when they do that. We want to go ahead and grant that also to Project T so that they can proceed with their proposal to try to get funding in those projects.
Why is this not planned economic development?
What is the time?
Because again, I will be here next week.
Yeah.
So we don't want to delay it.
You don't want this to be stalled because you're. Okay. Commissioner Henry.
Thank you. Well, as you know, this is in my ward, and as you know, Mr. Little, I've always had a problem with you shoving this down my throat without giving us an opportunity to get involved. Now, you are telling us that you got another plan, and we don't know, we know your justification, but there's no information in that justification, at least not enough for me. And for us to give you a 6 month extension on something that we don't even know. We gave you an extension because we knew what you were doing before. But now on this proposal, we don't know what you're doing.
Am I mistaken? I did not talk to you about this in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, you did, and you told me that same thing that you told the rest of us, that they didn't get the grant and that they were going to change and do some other things. So I got the other things, but justification in this document does not give me enough information about the other things.
The justification, simple
Just like you stood.
is that the money is not there to get the low-income housing tax credit. The money is there to fund missing middle housing. We're talking about a combination of up to 77 housing units, of which it could be some duplexes, some single family, and then of course still the other 4-story building. So that's the number one item, is that the funding may be available to do this if we want to carry the project forward. Now, they will even have, as I mentioned to you when I talked to you before, some additional open space where if money should come available under the low-income housing program, that they might be able to do something with that later. But right now, it's a go or no go. This is what's available. If we don't want to take advantage of it, it just sits there. As far as the 2 extensions.
Well, no, I need to know
The first
about
option.
the plans, the housing. You're saying you're gonna have 28 single family and duplex housing, commercial space, and a multi-family 4-story unit on 8. I don't know where it's gonna be. But I do know that my constituents on Agard said they do not want a 3 or a 4-story building on Agard. So that, but you're not telling me in your justification what is really going to happen. And we're giving them an option. I need more information from the chair.
An option, we're simply.
That's the thing, we're giving them the option to nobody else can look at the property and do anything else with it, because we are giving it an option. I get that, but I need to know what are we giving them an option for? What is this commercial space? Where is it going to be? We know how much land is available there. So let us see the plan. Don't just come and say, we can do this to you, and you don't have nothing to say about it, because my 3rd ward constituents are pretty pissed off. And when they hear this on YouTube, that you're talking about putting a 4-story building somewhere, but they don't know where, they're gonna call me and ask me what's going on. And if I say, I don't know, that's not gonna be good.
The initial proposal will have 2 4-story.
I know.
All right, now you're talking about one, but as far as where it's gonna go, that won't be finalized until they present their plans to the planning commission for approval.
Then it had to come back
At
to
this
the.
point, they're pursuing getting the funding. Have a project going.
So this just for the funding then.
That's what they're doing at this point, is pursuing the funding. And this is generally what the makeup of the project will be.
Right.
Final layout and so forth gets determined.
We have to.
They present a plan to the planning commission. That's how planning unit development works.
Okay. Commissioner Clark Griffin. Oh, you, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a question.
Can she come speak in?
Okay.
Keep the mic right there.
It don't work.
Yeah, it's not working. So, to Commissioner Edwards' point in terms of that particular project, were there any options in terms of the kind of spaces that she's saying her constituents looking for something else? And I remember doing the master planning process, the one gentleman that put together the financial piece that was missing in the city talked about that space being a commercial district with Trader Joe's and some other things in that space to offer residents a plaza, because that was some of the things that was missing. So was there another option given to the developers in terms of that space, just the housing piece? And we do need housing, we need to address that issue, but was there another option? Well, if this package isn't working, let's look at this option as a commercial space district as well to drive business in this part of Lexington.
We would love to have an option, but it didn't exist. If you recall, this started at least 2.5 years ago.
Speak up, Mr. Luke.
I am, I think the mic's not there. But if you recall, Commissioner Seats, been talking with Harbor Habitat, who presented to us first that terrarium presentation. Initially, it had some other things in it, including children coming out of the right, but that is dropped away. This is basically what we have. At present, we don't have any expressing interest in doing the commercial activity. In fact, we're trying to maintain commercial activity in this project. Right now, it's playing for the top of it.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Oh yeah, McCluck, okay.
Mr. Good said this is just to approve the bonding,
Mm-hmm.
but were we gonna be approving or not approving Monday is the bonding, but it's in its entirety. So he wants us to approve something that would be like Commissioner Henry said, we don't even know where it's gonna be. So if we're approving it Monday, then we're approving not just the bonding, also approving what we don't even know where
No.
it's gonna be.
'Cause my understanding is any plans have to come back. You got to go through the planning commission, the zoning board, and all kind of stuff, and then it can come back to the commission before anything is dug up, right? Is that?
And you did receive, did you not, a layout attached to the, that's the preliminary plan is presented right now.
No, that was for the streets.
Last page of that.
Second to last page.
Second to the last page.
Where is it? You say you see it?
It's the second to last page in your packet. Second to last page. Looks like this.
Not with this guy.
It's the last page.
Progressive.
Second to the last page. Like, there you go.
Looks like this.
See. Okay.
As was the other layout that was shown to you, it was a concept plan. This is a revised one. To correct something that was just said, you're not approving funding at this time. What you're approving is concept plan and project to move forward to seek financing from the state under their mission middle housing program.
Okay.
What to see, but that's what Mr. Lindsay will approve. So to see either way, we'll be approving in this time. I don't know if that's what I'm talking about. We'll be approving all of it. So we need more details, we need to know in its entirety what we're actually approving. We approving where and everything else that it entails.
In essence, what you'd be being asked to approve is a concept drawing here and a commitment to put at least these number of houses. The final configuration and all of that can get worked out. There's only so many ways you can do it on a certain piece of property. That can be worked out. But if they have the option, which I'll remind you, they already had a 1-year option, that ended as of December 31st. And the reason I'm saying 2 6-month options is because June 30, which is like 6 weeks away, the first option would expire. So it's no sense in just doing one, do both. And it gives them the balance of the year to get the funding necessary, put together the final plan, come in before the planning commission, and you or whoever, and lay out what they're going to do. I mean, we either do something or we do nothing. It's your choice.
Yep. Ms. Ashley, hi, sir.
So I just have one statement. I feel like, I know that this has been like maybe a 2-year process, but it seems like everything that was equitable about this project that needed appealing has been thrown to the floor. So I just want to state that. And then just for, I wanted to get an understanding of this concept drawing. Is this site map as it is, it doesn't reflect the plan that they're trying to implement, correct?
Once
Like
again,
the 19 duplexes, that's not what's reflected here, correct? In this middle housing types? This is
yes,
the old
it
rendering?
is. So this is a new one. That's reflected in this one.
Okay, thank you.
With 38 duplexes.
I don't.
And that may change depending on, what funding is, the final plan that goes through planning commission. Whatever.
Okay, I see. Sorry. So,
You can speak in the mic and hear.
you're not gonna see it anyway.
Yes. And that was the.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you a question.
Okay,
Okay, so for clarity, if I may,
go ahead,
Madam
quick.
Chair, what you're asking is for this to move forward for any zoning changes as well as the approval for them to seek the funding that's needed for the missing housing, the middle,
Yeah.
missing
this is
housing,
middle housing.
okay.
Right.
So,
And of course, also the extension of the options so that they have
okay,
control of the land. See,
okay,
Mr. won't consider a project unless you have control of it.
exactly, unless you have control of the land, okay, and a plan in place. So there's no way that another developer can come along and seek funding for such a project that's already in the works.
That's right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that I was on the right track.
You're on the right track.
Okay, so I'm just basically tired of it all because in the beginning, I just wanted to see something very large and extravagant go there. But we are where we are and we need some houses.
Housing in the worst.
We need some places
All
to
right.
stay.
Got it on for the audience, Ms. Fields, go ahead.
Okay, so for clarification on the map, the reason why it's hard to reiterate what is being asked about, but if everybody's looking at the map or not. So one of my questions would be, how affordable is it for a common resident in that area? So if I'm not visualizing, I'm sorry, like commercial, what would be commercial necessarily, and then I'm
Low to moderate.
If I were to try and give you a specific answer to that, I would guess. But the developers are saying that it's their intent to make sure that the housing is
We argue about it Monday.
have they been here to present and
But he just, the question that I had
sorry.
gave me clarity.
Okay,
And we have a revised letter. They're saying things will change some of this housing. So that we're supporting residents as well as others who are seeking.
And today, the vote is merely to allow them to look
Go
into.
forward with it.
No.
To do more than look into.
Okay.
Hopefully, they're going to secure financing through the state of Michigan, Michigan State Housing Development for missing middle housing, which is just a category of funding. You know, like they had the LIHTC housing that they use other visions and standards. They've got permanent supportive housing like MHT is pursuing a project over here. And this is missing the housing, which reflect this kind of project.
My last question, I'm sorry. So, because I feel like our commission, as well as myself, are confused as to if there are other checks in place after this. So, after the vote, then what?
The next check is the project is approved and financing is available. They then work on the final drawing and plan.
With input from who? Just
They'll submit it to the planning commission already, which gives the planning commission and citizenry opportunity to have it.
so to get the ball rolling, come on, quick question, then I'm gonna move.
I just want to let everybody know that I did get a site plan concept, and I'm so disappointed. I worked hard to get 10 single-family homes for somebody to buy. And now I'm looking at 19 duplexes. And my question is, are they gonna sell them?
Yes.
And they're gonna be affordable? I don't know why we're not getting any single-family homes. I don't wanna concentrate us all in one area. We had this conversation before. I just love the idea that we went from 8 to 10 people were gonna own their home on that street. But now I'm seeing that we got 19 duplexes. And 39 residential 4-story buildings. So now that don't suit well with me immediately because I lost 10 homeowners and I'm getting 19 duplexes. So
19 rooms.
I'm sorry?
What's a 19 room?
It's not the same as a duplex and a homeowner is not the same.
19 more than that.
So, and when you,
Can't do
I
it,
just come from a
can't own
community,
half of,
and the state of
unless it's
Michigan
some type
talks
of,
about the housing,
they do it like
but
home,
for us to be
they call
concentrated
it home associations type thing.
in an area like that, our concentration of us is not good. It didn't work in Cabrini Green, it didn't work in New York, it didn't work in Bluff Avenue, nowhere did it work. So
All right,
I'm not
quick,
ready
quick,
for this one.
quick, Ms. Hines, and we're gonna move on. Quick.
Okay, yeah, I just have one additional statement. So I house hack, that's what they call when you live in one of your units and you rent them out. So I have a fourplex in the city. But when you have missing middle housing types, that is a variety of different housing structures, not just all duplexes. You know, you have to have that single family. That is how you create these strong neighborhood structures. Because what you end up with is people who may own their home as buyers, investors, then renting out 2 units. And obviously those are not things that we control, but that is how you kind of create these holistic communities where you have people of different income levels supporting and being in the communities of one another. So when you have just 19 duplexes and then additional rental housing that's over and above the mixed use, it's like it's kind of being counterproductive. We're essentially creating another like project. So I just wanted to know that.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
if I might, in the interest of time, I was going to try and avoid, but if I might, could I read the letter that came from them?
Can get up there on sidewalks too, since you won't be here.
Yeah, go ahead, do that. It's on this subject here, so we.
Project T Planning Unit Development, PD designation, 968 Guard Avenue, and 807 Wells Street. Dear Mr. Little, pursuant to our recent in-person meeting, please accept this as a formal request to dedicate the property is located on 906 Guard Avenue and 807 Wells Street as Planning Unit Development, pursuant to the recently updated City of Benton zoning ordinance. The proposed use of the Project T property will be a two-phase mixed-use development consisting of 38 Mission Middle single-family residential units and related green space, adequate parking per unit, and one mixed-use building. Phase 1 will provide much-needed attainable for sale housing, ranging from 60% to 120% of area median income. The project will also attract down payment assistance from area banks to further support affordability. Phase 2 is a 3-story mixed-use building with ground floor community-centric commercial space, including 4,000 square feet dedicated to childcare. The uses proposed for this building are designed to meet specific housing and commercial needs of the surrounding neighborhoods. The site is currently located in the CL Local Commercial District. City of Benton Harbor modified its zoning ordinance on December 19, 2022 to permit a development in the CL zoning classification to request to be rezoned to planned unit development.
Okay. For time-wise purpose, we're going to go ahead and move this on to. Okay. All right, come on. You ain't spoke yet. Come on.
I don't see enough parking in this area for what you guys are talking about. So where I see plans for people to live there, but where are the
94 parking spaces are planned to be in the center of the project, inside, away from the street.
would there be parking units there? I mean, we so interested in this,
but not
No, resident, that's
that area, I mean, not in that parking area that you're talking about, but there's people who park other places. What I'm trying to
It's
understand.
residential.
Why wouldn't we parking meters? Say, I don't know what the name of this street is here.
This is residential, Mr. Duncan.
I know it is.
Okay. All right.
I had a point.
Yeah.
And I think parking in that area is one of the biggest points you can make. You don't have lights, you got a liquor store down on the corner, and you gotta make it. And on top of that, I think you guys ought to talk to the citizens again before you make all these gigantic plans. I want something there too. Don't get me wrong, I want to see us grow. That I do. But if you can't explain, parking is gonna be so really cheap. So think about that, you only have that in one corner. Plus Union. So you gotta make a lot of sense to the citizens. I live in the third ward and I do represent. Thank you.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and move this over to the full body, and then we can continue vetting it there. Okay. Thank you.
And the money I need.
Hey, we got other Next item on the agenda here is discussion for priority health exercise program. Who's,
Hey,
What's the problem?
give it a moment to get those.
Why we gonna do this? Who is it? Who is it?
we'll see, but
Come back to the park, my goodness, 5 folks, show up. Oh. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no.
we don't listen to them.
I see. I'm looking at this and it looked like it would
Go.
be nice if it was one of the walls that keys climbed up.
All right, Mr. Manager, you on?
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that we've been working on this for a while.
Oh.
And we got the material in last September. And it's been a while, so we want to make sure that everyone knew what was happening. And could see that. I want you to go to the first page here.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go to the first page here. And that's the park and the area where it's supposed to go in the park. That will be up in this corner on Pipestone in Maine. And if you look at this picture here, you look at this one, you see the different types of, you see the different types of formats that these things take. And the one that we chose was the first one here on the right side. This has been to the city already.
Yeah.
This has all been to the city commission.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that you're seeing it again.
We revised.
Can we let him finish his presentation,
And this-
please?
This package, this picture here shows exactly what the exercise equipment is gonna look like. It's gonna be quite beautiful in that side, that corner of the park. And the last picture I have here is, this is the package that came in last fall. And in those packages, they are stored in Public Works. Now, let me just tell you what
Keith, continue.
Let me tell you what this exercise program is doing. We're trying to build a synergy in the downtown area. And this is an outside exercise program that's in cities here in Michigan and cities in California. And people can just come to this park, to this exercise equipment and work out. Then go back, spend their money in town. That's what we're trying to accomplish, getting the synergy in town. This came about, just so you remember, we had a chance to get a grant from the Priority Health people. They put it together. We were awarded the grant, and part of that award, we had to have a collection from some neighbors in the city.
Ooh,
Those neighbors were Whirlpool and it was Lakeland Health, but is it now Colwell? It's Colwell now.
Mhm.
And each of them have put in $50,000 to cover the city's part, and we have a project ready to go now. This project we have
Dug up dirt and
We have-
everything for it.
Can you interrupt in the presentation?
Oh, I thought it was.
No. Can you finish? Okay, you do? Okay. So, Mr. Manager, what is the, this already been through, to the,
already been to the
commission and have been approved? You just want to discuss
Just
on it?
wanted everybody to know that we're ready to start doing. We needed, we couldn't put together 14 good days. And that's what was needed. They have given us some material that now will help the concrete to seal in less time. So our weather is finally getting where we can go ahead and start. And I want to get it started and have it finished so it will be ready for people to use in June.
Mm-hmm. So no action needed out of this committee because it's basically, yeah, okay. Information. All right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Next item for,
So wait. Okay, if I may.
okay,
I've
go
been
ahead.
waiting. So if this is just for information
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
This project is moving forward because we have something here that indicates something need to be moved. And if this is where it's going, is that,
So, nothing need to be moved.
okay, wait a minute, nothing needs to be moved, but is this where this thing is supposed to be going? Is that what this is?
Yes.
We didn't approve that,
no, we
and
didn't.
I don't think we approved the hole that was dug up for it last year.
No, we didn't.
Or the year before. My question is, and it always has been, why are we cluttering this little bitty park? Why can it not go across the street at a corner next to Cornerstone? I mean, next to Avonmarsh, in that big old lot. Who owns that?
Avonmarsh.
Because, I mean, well, there you go. Time for them to give back to the community. They can donate that and it can go over there. And let's spread the love. Get some people live, making noise and doing things in other portions of the downtown area.
All right, Commissioner Henry, you had a question? Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to go back to my memory of this project when it first came in. We were all excited that we got some money to do something for our people. Even though we were putting it downtown, and we know some of our people wouldn't come downtown. We didn't get it in Union Park where our people really go. But my question is, they said where it was gonna be located. They dug up an error. I thought, well, since we gotta have it, it might as well be there. Now, I'm understanding that they wanna move it, and see if I'm understanding this, to the corner of Main and Pipestone.
That is correct.
Why? My question is, why move it on the main drag?
Yeah.
And I don't know what that really means, all of them people, colored people in there. I really don't know what it means, but personally, I think it's ugly. And I surely don't want to sit right on the corner of Main and Pipestone, our main drag.
Distraction.
Well, first of all, it's not people.
I'm sorry?
It's not people.
Well, whatever it is, personally, it's not my cup of tea.
And-
But I don't want it sitting on the corner of Main and Pipestone where everybody comes down to see. Put it on the corner of the next corner where you said you were gonna put it. The picture indicates
They don't need to be there either.
This is the one that we chose, not, I let you see this one so you can see it. This is not the one.
Oh, you chose it. Oh,
We
okay.
had to make
So
a
this
choice.
one is the one
Yeah.
with priority health name all over.
You know,
That's the one you want?
It's going to have Whirlpool, it's going to have Caldwell, and it's going to have Meeks. Because Meeks is going to designate this. He's going to give his time and effort to put the Lady Concrete back.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had to have that involved.
Okay, well, that looks a lot better, Mr. Mitchell, than all of them creatures. So, but location is the key to everything. And Maine,
Cutting off the beautiful view.
we already got a statue going up on Main Street. Now you wanna put the block, half a block over.
Everybody's wanna donate.
This exercise, how close is gonna be to the sidewalk? How do we use it as an exercise? Is it gonna be facing the main street or is this gonna be the back of it?
Be facing Main Street.
What is gonna be
The
facing?
exercise equipment will be on
Facing
Main
Main
Street.
Street.
Yes.
So
that's correct.
when I come down to exercise in my community, I'm gonna bend over, exercise, when cars are coming down
Please don't bend
Main
over.
Street. Slow too, cause they got to go around in circles. Oh, come on, guys.
Run over something.
Come on, do a little better than that.
Commissioner Clark, if,
The project is here, but it's got to be refined to our liking.
all right, Commissioner Clark.
Okay, because I know this, is this the fitness thing that was supposed to go to city center that was voted in long before I took my seat, right?
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
hearing two of my colleagues saying that the location and other things was not approved. There's been changes. And I just want to know exactly, because it say Pipestone and Main, what are we talking about? Cross street from Novo, still at the city center, or are we talking about the other side of Novo? Where is actually
In the park.
in city center? On the corner,
Yes.
Park and Main, and it's gonna look like this too.
No, it don't look like this.
Which one?
Look like either one of them is wrong place.
It's gonna say priority.
No, it's gonna say, well,
Location, location, location.
Nah, I mean, this is a mess.
All right,
But anyway, thank you, that's all I got.
Yes.
Commissioner
so
Edwards.
If we go by the picture, that's actually Pipestone
Yeah,
and
as soon
Wall.
as we get them, as soon
Yeah,
as they shut up.
it should be up to,
It's not Pipestone and Main, it's Pipestone and Wall. We did vote on it, when they did that little patch, it was closer.
Pipestone and Wall,
It was
yeah.
a little larger, but because of the tree and the bench. So it's actually Pipestone
And Wall,
and Wall.
yeah.
We revising.
No, that's the same spot,
Thank
then.
you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's revisable.
All right,
Can we hear from
Did-
Evan Martin?
did you want to say something, Jason?
I just wanted to clarify that it was pipes on the wall.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
I thought he was dope.
But it's just, I mean, where it was cut up before, it's just.
All right, think I had a couple of questions over here first. Anybody? Okay. Dix. All right. Commissioner?
There's an exercising place right around the corner.
All right.
Better go for it.
One last question here, because we got
So the
people waiting.
existing tree that you need to cut down,
no, there's no tree
Uh,
that needs to be cut down.
that means 2 trees got to be planted.
There's no,
Otherwise, I'm gonna chain myself to the tree.
there's no tree that has to be.
So, huh?
No trees
No
got to be
tree
cut.
has to be cut down.
It's that bench and tree now. What is it gonna be?
No tree.
I say,
No tree.
I'm gonna request a revision of this.
I'm
Cause
sorry,
there's an exercising
Oh, you got
place right around the corner
Commissioner,
by the golf course.
Commissioner, I'm trying to hear what the city manager's saying, please.
There will be no trees cut down.
Will the bench be moved?
No,
Cause we need
Nope.
a 15 by 15 foot.
You're looking at a
space.
different location. He talking,
I know what he's saying. I got the location
Okay.
straight.
all right. Is it a bench over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
100 women.
I'm asking, is the bench gonna be moved? You already told me the tree gonna stay, so I'm
Trees
happy.
don't stay.
So is the bench gonna be moved? We need 15 by 15.
The whole
sheets.
street might be moved if you blink.
We got 15 by 15 for this big thing here for us to exercise on, so I need to know.
All right, while you waiting, go ahead, ask your question.
I do have a question in regards to location. I know this is prior to me. However, like, so the inner city, so like, why couldn't it have been, like, for example, a Union Park or something of that nature? So that would have been really good for kids or people that can afford memberships and families could come instead of like kind of it being here too, because you have to consider parking and people were trying to kind of come in groups. But why can't it be more or less? Because like when there's an event going on or something, you won't be able to use it. Then do everybody have to get permission? Or entities such as myself, President Pullers have to get permission, be on the list. How would all of that work as well?
Well, let me ask your first question.
Yes.
First question was the same one that I had. Why does it have to be downtown? And this is a high profile operation. And they want it to be where they can have a synergy that comes into an area. Downtown is the place. When we're trying to get traffic and have more traffic downtown.
They go back. I'm not still clear. I understand it's already activity comes. It's enough events and things that are already here. I'm asking if it's for the city, right? And were you able to push back in regards to, okay, well, maybe it can't be here, wasn't any negotiation, or this is what they wanted to do for the grant?
This was negotiation. And you gotta remember also, first of all, there are 2 housing developments that we're working on right now in the downtown, okay? And this is walking distance for both of them. And when they're strolling around downtown, they can stop, exercise. The employees can go out and exercise if they want to at lunchtime. People from all over the city. So those people who don't come downtown, now they can come on downtown and exercise.
They have exercising in their facilities.
All right, Mr. Duncan, I think you had your question, hand up.
Yeah. It sounds like it's all supposed to be about exercise.
Yes,
so there'll be a lot of women out there doing pull-ups and push-ups. DPNs. I think we got our area kind of twisted up. Do we have money to do this on James Clark Park? That's one of the things I was asking for in the master plan, and I don't know whatever happened to that plan, but I hear about a whole lot of other plans. For downtown, it was okay for them to do everything that they did wrong. Not asking the citizens, and that's what's most important. That's what's really missed. You guys go and make all the decisions, and say you ask somebody, a couple people or something, and then we end up with a giant housing complex in the 3rd Ward that I know it's not enough parking, but I'm not as smart as you guys, but I can see some potential growth, and I can see some potential problems too. Next to a liquor store is always a problem, and I know everybody in here probably drinks something other than me, but I am not on Kelly Black. I know where it's supposed to be. They make laws where it's supposed to be, but they stop us in our community. But they don't stop us on Main Street or Territory. That's always been my problem. Then to open up come out here in your shorts and pull yourself up on the screen. I don't see that in Ben Harvard. I didn't see that in the 50s. I don't see it now. So how do you make old people like me think that's a great idea in a city that does nothing to make sure that the citizens have training, make sure the citizens have, make damn sure the citizens have a job. And I'm not talking about the little kids either, I'm talking about their mamas and their daddies and their uncles and aunties. So you guys got your eyes on one thing, but one thing I'm sure about, citizens got their mind on something else when it comes to what this city is supposed to look like. And it's not gonna have a picture.
It looks like this.
It's not gonna have a picture look like this. Not none of the citizens I know and deal with on a daily basis. So I don't know how you guys gonna fix it. I know how it's gonna go because you guys do what you want to do anyway. Even whether a citizen has something to say about it or not, you just pass over us and just act like we are, don't even exist. And that's the way a lot of people like to see it. They like to see downtown the way it used to be, and I don't. I remember Ben Harbor in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and it had nothing to do with us, and I feel myself going back into that same picture again. Mainly because of our representation. We don't have the right representation. You guys don't vote for, you don't vote unanimously when it comes to the citizens. We have to beg for city income tax, and half of you guys didn't vote for that. But you're coming up for re-election again, and I'll be the one was saying that because I want something better than what I have seen in Den Harbor and what I.
Make sure you do homework.
We're gonna have one together. We're gonna have to go get a planning table with the citizens about everything what happens in this city. I like all you guys' ideas, don't think I don't. You got some ideas, and that's what we have as citizens. And we need our ideas, our master plan, taken care of. I like to pull up bars. I would love to see them on J. Clark Park. Thank you for my time.
All right, thank you. Last two questions, which is just no actionable item anyway, but we got last two questions. It's gonna be it. We gotta move on. We got some people here who've been patiently waiting. Ms. Fields, go ahead.
Mine isn't a question, mine is a statement. I wasn't opposed to it. I just asked some questions that
Okay.
I probably wasn't aware of prior to, just in regards to the location.
Mhm.
Because I'm for wellness and
Okay.
you can work out anywhere,
Mhm.
right? We're gonna do yoga in the park.
Yeah.
Different people have already planned to do that, so we've been doing down with dog.
Yeah.
They would have still saw some different things. So I'm not opposed to it. I just had some questions.
Go ahead.
I think that, you know, wherever it end up being, it'll be beneficial, because we can bring some kids out here, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But again, I had some clarity questions, but for the sake of time, I'm done.
Thank you. Last question. Come on.
Yeah, that's all I gotta ask. So one thing, if it's something like this, and so much on the agenda, and we gotta vote in a few days.
There's no-
Be where we have.
No action, no vote on this, no, no.
Oh, we're not?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and what I wanna say is, did I hear that this is supposed to be up May or June? Trying to get it.
Yes, June. We're shooting for June 1st.
So we talking about construction, putting it down before the Juneteenth, which I requested a couple months ago, not to happen.
It won't be construction at Juneteenth. It will already be up in use.
Everything.
But June 1st.
You said it needed 14 days.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
14 days, is it?
Yeah. All right, next.
Interfere with the farmer's market in any kind of order.
It's gonna work just fine with the farm.
Anybody?
First of all,
It's gonna work
will it
with.
interfere with the function
No,
of
yeah,
the
no.
farmer's market?
No, it won't interfere.
Next item on the agenda is presentation by the Whirlpool Park project. Stephanie Harvey Vandenberg and can't think of the other
That needs to be revised.
Whichever plug works.
Well, we waiting on them, can I ask a question through the chair? About the last copy,
About the what?
the last copy.
Okay.
When we do these jobs, like you guys are asking for, do we have to have, is it mandatory that we have to have all their names up on a sign all over the park? I mean,
Shouldn't be.
because we get more and more of that, and it's not gonna get better. And if we don't ask for the things that we want, we get the things that we don't ask for, like the structure down in Jamie Clark Park, the big monstrosity. That was, I don't know what it means. I don't even know where it came from, but
Okay.
it's there. So we got the whole
You-
city
You ready?
with these signs with their names. I mean, if you don't do something for the city, why can't you just do it and it be a done deal?
All right. We're gonna, you can talk
Through the
further,
chair,
yeah, you can further talk there. We're gonna get this presentation going so they can, okay, because that item was over with. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners, and community. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I'm actually glad that we're positioned in the agenda this evening. It was quite appropriate for what we'd like to present today. We are headed into year 3 of our partnership with the city of Lake Harbor, and as a part of our equality pledge local corporation, and really working better and strengthening our partnership and how we work together, how we listen better with one another, to one another, and work alongside one another. Last year, we took as a part of our Day of Impact, we chose and made the decision based off of feedback, conversations and discussions to revitalize Union Park. And, when we started, I got chilled up just saying that, but when we started the conversations over almost 2 years ago, it really was around what can we do to support the city, the municipality of the city, and what did that look like, what did that feel like, and what is the impact that we were ultimately trying to create for our community. And the impact that we really wanted to create was not only short-term, but long-term. Sustainable programming, increased property values in our neighborhood, increased activity for our young people and our seniors and those citizens who live in the community, but also create a safe space for everybody to come and to be and to congregate and to fellowship together, right? And so that was the goal. And I think that after Day of Impact last year at Union Park, we've seen some amazing things happening in the park, amazing activities that are happening in the park. And it just warms my heart every time I drive past or I look on social media and I see all of the wonderful things and all the beautiful young smiling faces that are in the park with their families and their parents. This year, we're at 2023. And so, I came before you all several months ago through a plan with working with some of our designers at Whirlpool to reimagine all of the parks, right? The parks that we had not, revitalized or were proposing to revitalize. And so, we narrowed it down to several parks. And today, what we're presenting to share with you is where we landed. This was a very difficult decision because when we started the project, we wanted to, the plan was to take on 2 parks, to be quite honest with everyone here in the room. And those 2 parks that were the priority parks for us this year, not only was it Broadway Park that will now be renamed as June Lewis Memorial Park, but it also was the Charles Mickey Yarbrough Park. And that park, again, chill bumps, that park means so much to so many of us. And although I'm here as a Whirlpool lead for this project, my heart is in the city. And so I have a lot of pride when I come before you to talk about the vision and the plan and the listening sessions and the feedback that we've received. Because my goal, and I believe part of the purpose of my role, is to help contribute and to be a part of the solution to make our community better and stronger. And, Officer McGinnis said earlier today, Pastor Torres did as well, we're better together, we're stronger when we can do it. And so I'm proud to say that I think what we're going to share today is going to help make us stronger together and better together. And I'd like to nominate right out of the gate, this project
if supported, can be supported, to be a part of the summer initiative to help reduce and eliminate gun violence in our community. So just for those who are familiar with this partnership, just high level, I'm not gonna read all of this, but just the commitment and the purpose, right? When we started this, as I alluded to earlier. And so one of the things I'm really super proud about what we're doing this year is, when we started the project, I think we wanted to come and listen and learn and grow and strengthen. And we did it as a volunteer organization, as a company. This year, we're gonna do it a little bit different, because I think it's time now that we start to lean in and work in more partnership with our community organizations, who are also equally invested in the growth and the development and the strengthening and the increased programs for our community. And so this year, we decided to work with and partner alongside Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. We do know and understand that, earlier, 2 years ago, a couple years ago, or last year, I'm sorry, the Denor organization, whose leader came before the commission and asked for and received approval to rename the park after June Woods, who's a former slave who relocated to Benton Harbor and became a respected community leader. Those are the things that we want to make sure that our community, our young people, know and understand the history of the people who put this community on their backs to help create the foundation that we all walk on today. So what does that look like, right? So you all met my colleague Daniel Page Wood, and we kind of came in and gave some renderings on several parts. This is where we landed, and this will be the Broadway Park that will be rededicated as the June Woods Memorial Park. And so what does this look like? Now we know what the current conditions of the park look like, but what does revitalization look like? We spent time walking in the park, sitting and listening, watching people listening, people watching, paying attention to the needs and the comments on Facebook. So we used a number of different strategies to gain as much insight as we possibly could. It's been a long winter. But one of the things that it's unfortunate that when we decided to focus on one park, the decision wasn't really necessarily made for us, but although it was made because of the lack of supply chain issues that we're running into. Although I think we all feel like we're kind of out of COVID right now, we're still in COVID. And so when you start to look at and work with construction companies and working with other third-party vendors and suppliers, you can't get materials here. And so we had to prioritize and minimize and think about how can we revitalize a park with as much minimal disruption in the park, knowing that summertime is a really prime time that our parks are used. Yeah. And we didn't want to create any high level of distraction or disruption in the park. And I thought about Mr. Duncan. I thought of you because I heard your voice and your passion around Yarborough Park and the need for bathrooms and the need for our community to want to fish and really entertain around our river. We're just prime real estate for us. And so we really had to sit down and assess, like, how do we prioritize it? And so we had to make a hard decision based off of what our suppliers and vendors could provide us with. And in the time frame that we knew that we needed to have the project at least start with minimal extended completion. So what you see here is a reimagination and what we're proposing to do at Broadway June Woods Memorial Park. Some of the work will be able to start before and by June 15th. Some of the work will have to happen after, all right? So that's a little bit different than what the project was last year with Union Park. If you recall, Union Park, we had a lot of runway and a lot more time. That project had to start, stop, and continue again due to COVID. So we were able to get a lot of the work in the park done ahead of time. But what you see here is the plan of what we plan to do, or what we'd like to do with your support and permission. We would like to resurface all 4 basketball courts in the park. And so not only just resurfacing the courts, but also the rims and the backboards and all of that. As you can kind of see currently in this rendering, we want to bring those courts together so that there's some connection between all of the courts. and add seating so that there's additional seating that happens in the park more comfortably, right? You can do some really cool things there with different types of tournaments, activities. One of the things that we heard from some feedback, because what I did ask the question, was this smaller lot right here, the smaller court here, number 7. If you recall, when we came before the commission before, there was a thought that we would lower the rim, right, for the littles to be able to play, right? Because not everybody can shoot up high, right? You gotta grow up a little bit to shoot up high. And overwhelmingly, the response was, don't do that. And, and so the response to not do it was simple. It was like they didn't want it vandalized, torn down. For the older kids who could actually dunk on a shorter rim, they felt like the rim would be torn down. So they asked us to make it the regulation of all of them. And so, we heard that came through several times in many discussions. But also with the seating that will be added around, as you can kind of see, bring it together. You'll see here in the center of number 6 and number 5, we're looking to expand the walking path inside of the center of the park. And number 6 is going to be what we envision as the center of the park, which is where we will put the June Woods Memorial Monument. So there's an existing, huge rock limestone that's already in the park. Nothing that's already in the park will come out of the park. We are restoring everything that's in the park now, and just replenishing and dusting and then cleaning it off and making it shiny and new like a diamond, right? Because all of these are diamond pieces to our community. But what we're looking to do is to replicate the existing stone that's in the park to mirror in the park at number 6 and put that as the focal, and that is where we will dedicate the park or rededicate the park to June Woods with a nice plate in partnership with the NORA organization. So that's where you will see that recognition show up here in the park. Also, as you'll see around the perimeter of the park, we will be installing walking paths so that people can walk around the park, get in laps. The intent and purpose is to add some mile markers so people kind of know how far they're walking. If they want to walk so many times around it, that's X number of miles, a quarter mile, just to give them, a gauge of the activity that's been happening. There's an existing pavilion that's already in the park, and it's in great condition. We just need to clean it, and so we're going to clean that up. But there's also over here, number 2, there's a big slab that's in the park, and it's just a big slab. And I think once upon a time it used to be a pavilion there. So what we're going to do is we were looking at replacing it with a replica pavilion. Can't get it here, right? Don't even know when they can get it here. However, what we thought we could do is to install poles and then have the wind sails. So the wind sails that are down, it's like a pavilion that's down in Yarborough Park. We will install a wind sail there to use the existing concrete platform there to create another pavilion, right? So another gathering space for families and people, in addition to adding, which I'll go through in just a little bit, on some of the amenities that will stay and we will add to the park. Here, number 4, you will see we'd like to install a turf field. We'd like to install a turf field. This turf field will serve as a multi-purpose field that any type of activity can happen, whether it's yoga, whether it's flag football, whether it's soccer. It can be anything for anyone in the park, organized structure activity, or just a gathering place. But it's a space that's defined in what you can do, because not everyone who comes into the park wants to shoot hoops. And so a lot of times what the feedback we got was they don't know why they're in the park other than to shoot hoops, because one, there wasn't enough seating space, or they didn't feel like there was enough activity for them to choose to pick to do something different. Or bathroom. And so having said that, so when you have the turf field there, so you have each 3 different playground equipment spaces. So keep in mind, the thought behind the revitalization of this particular park was also thinking about maintenance from the city. So we wanted to think about low maintenance, low cost maintenance from the city to be able to maintain the park. So currently existing right now is just, it's grass underneath it, right? And so sometimes we can't get in there and it needs to, it's not been kept. And so we're actually going to replace the whole platform of the playground equipment with recycled rubber mulch. So it's a softer surface, it's the mulch that is at Union Park that we installed, it's recycled. So from a sustainability perspective, we like to use recycled products. And so we're gonna replace it. And then the playground equipment is actually in really good shape. It just needs to be repaired, some swings need to be replaced. The good part is that there's serial numbers on the playground equipment that we've taken pictures of, and the vendor, we've reached out to the vendor, and the vendor can actually replace the equipment that needs to be replaced and fixed. So we're gonna replace all of that playground equipment. So the swings, the monkey bars, so anything that's there that needs to be replaced that is a current safety hazard, we will replace all of that equipment, okay? And so one of the things that, and so all of the new paving, the thing that we're working with right now with AEP is there's some lighting, there's light posts in the park. We do know that there are homes in the neighborhood, so we need to be careful about how illuminating the light will be so that it's not a disruption to the neighbors who live in the neighborhood. So we're exploring at what level can the lights be up, and then what time do they come up and what time do they go down, sun up, sunset, right? So we are looking at kind of replacing the lighting or upgrading the light fixtures that are in the park currently and existing right now. And so what will be consistent in the park? So these will be enhanced or added features. So we will increase the number of trash cans in the park, and we will remove the trash cans that were homemade that are in the park right now, and replace them with new trash cans. We will add bike racks. So, you know, the kids who want to come to the park and, you know, they want to ride their bikes, they want to put their bikes someplace. And I remember when I was a kid and we could, you know, I'd have to ask, can I go ride my bike? And we were going to go to the park. You know, we did, but I had a lot and I had, you know, and so you could put your bike, you can lock your bike up, right? And so we want to kind of install the bike racks. I talked about the rubber mulch. I talked about the new backboards and the hoops and the rims. I talked about the lighting. We are going to add more grills, so families can come and fellowship together. You know, it's a great opportunity for revenue generation for the city, because now you can rent out the park and you can actually have activities and events in the park with more grills.
Red grill.
There's already existing grills in the park, and so we're going to position them nearby the pavilions. So the pavilion that we're repairing and creating, we will put 2 grills on each side of those, and then I think there's some other locations that we want to put the grills. But the grills won't be by the basketball courts from a high fire and safety hazard. So we obviously have to follow some guidelines of where we put them to make sure that it's safe for everyone. And looking at adding a picnic table, another picnic table for more families to be able to eat in the park. Again, on the new pavilion that we're creating and building. I talked about resurfacing all 4 courts, and then we want to group the playgrounds together so that it's more cohesive and it's a good flow, it's a better flow in the park. And so one of the things that we've added that's not added to this, so most recently, Rose and I, my colleague, we walked again through the park, and just the early afternoon, we was like, okay, let's go. So we just got up, left the office, and just started walking through the park, and there were a few gentlemen that came over and introduced themselves to us. And we in return introduced ourselves to him. And it was a great conversation because he was curious about who we were. And we were happy and honored and pleased that he came over, right? And he was curious enough to want to come over to him. And what they asked us to do was to add on both sides of the park. Barricade, what do you call them?
The posts,
The
the
posts.
fence posts, so that people don't drive up.
Right,
Yeah. And one of the things he first initially asked was for a fence. He asked us to put a fence, and I just said, you know, I remember when I was a little girl, we did have a fence around the park.
Safer.
It was safer, it felt safe. But I know times have changed and evolved. And so I think there's a perception that comes with people when they see fencing, it either means stay out or stay in. And so for us as people, that's not a good fit. And so I just said to him, let's explore an alternative. Because I don't want anybody to feel like the message is either stay out or stay in. But I heard what the brother was saying. He was like, look, we want to come in the park, we want to be in the park, we want to use the park. My concern is there's cars driving into the park when the littles are in the park. So families and parents don't feel safe letting and allowing your children to be in the park. So if they didn't feel like they could be in the park with their child, they wouldn't let them come. And so I think we in a point in time where it's important that we get our young people out in the sun, breathe the air, get off the computers, put the cell phones down, learn how to look at people in the eye and engage and have fun and be a kid. So, you know, we're open. We actually went back even after this rendering was finalized, and we went back to our contractors and said, hey, you know, quote us on what these barricades would look like, and let's see if we can add it to the plan. Because that's important, right? So we can create a level of safety and comfort for people, but also at the same time, make it still aesthetically attractive and not necessarily make people feel uncomfortable about what the park looks like. And so, you know, I talked a little bit about the rededication of the park. And then our proposal is we would do Juneteenth, the Day of Impact this year on June 15th. And that would be with Whirlpool employees volunteering, with the No organization volunteering. And we would love for you all as commissioners to come back out again, because that was just so much fun last year. And we'd love to work alongside you again in this park. And so the next steps would be, and I thought about you, Mr. Duncan, you know, because there will be ongoing construction that will happen prior to, during, and after to some degree, it's going to be important we put some signage up, you know, so that we're able to kind of inform and educate everybody what's happening in the park. We are going to work to minimize as much disruption as possible, particularly and especially when we're looking at installing the turf field and the playground equipment and repairing some of that. But that's really the only reason why. And my commitment to the city is this isn't a Whirlpool thing. This is a partnership thing. And so when the project is complete, Mr. Duncan and Commission, you have my word that we will remove the signage from the park because we don't want credit for it. We're just trying to make people aware of what's happening in the absence of people being there every day and all day explaining what's happening. Open for questions.
Okay, well, Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, thank both of y'all very much for what you already have done. One of the questions, thank you for that article. Even though I can't
We'll go at two.
One of
It's
my
three,
questions,
but we gotta do two.
I don't think with the basketball court. I've noticed at least the one here is at the Harbor of Hope. I have played in other cities where they start bringing in a more cushion court. Would that would be, I mean, it's the health risk before knees, all that, backs. So is that something that you could look into? I don't know what his material is made out of, but it seems that it's still good.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think the shorter response to your question is yes. I think you know, we looked at you know, when we quoted pricing, you know, we looked at what we did at Union Park, the asphalt, we used a softer material on that, and we surfaced that for that exact reason. So, but absolutely, we're taking all of that into consideration. Yeah, and then maintenance long-term too.
Right, right.
Okay, any commissioners? Commissioner Adams, go.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2 minutes, so we.
I want to first of all thank you. We've come such a long ways from
Such a long
the
way.
parks.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but we are where we are, and we're on a better footing. And I love the part about partnership and ownership between the partners. I've always thought about how fun it is, and I can still hear the laughter and the children's voices in my head of Broadway Park. When we had a swimming pool there, even though it was a community pool, the laughter amongst the kids, the splashing and stuff. If we could at least just get a splash pad. If the kids are eating something, sticky or what have you, they go rinse off just on a hot day, just in the splash pad. I mean, it's just a fun thing. And what better, we are right here by a beautiful lake. We got this water plant that lets off more than we can utilize in a given day. I can see a small splash pad in every last one of our parks, really. Probably a place that they can go and ice skate in the wintertime with a barrier around it. But another thing that I would like to see is something that we've discussed in times past, even with Union Park, and it should still take place. Not only the steel barriers to keep vehicles from coming up on, but the tree lawns. Get rid of them, at least some of them, and allow diagonal parking for more people to, it just looks more uniformed, more, more community-like.
We did,
Yeah.
Adams, we did, one of the renderings, did have some parking, added. And the reason why we didn't go there, because when we asked what the needs were when we were in the park, that parking never came up.
Yeah. But I'm just hoping we can revisit it
Yes,
in the
ma'am,
future.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was a consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody, was you first? Yeah, Ms. Fields, and then we'll go to Ms.
Oh, I really wanted to say that, I like the paving, like I have a brother who's a wheelchair. Accessible, and the fact that, you can go around and you come within, because I take them when I do my Friday, wellness walk and stuff, and people don't readily think of it. And to have like the distance measurements are really good. I love all those such things because it promotes the wellness. It doesn't have to be at one part, it can be at multiple. So I really like that.
Ms. Ang.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for doing this. We Park a lot for our program, and we actually use Broadway Park a lot as well. But it would be great to see the updates that happen. I guess my question is more so from the city perspective, since it is a partnership. When we think about sustainability of it, one of the issues that we often run against is just the lawns being unkept and trash not being picked up, and especially even when the park is reserved, right? And so, we're paying cleaning fees, or it's a deposit that's ultimately returned. But I'm just curious of what that schedule is like as far as like cleaning up Broadway Park. Is there any communication that happens when someone actually has the park reserved as it relates to ensuring that it is in proper condition for whatever event is taking place? And then the second part of that question is that, is there any plan to scale funding for programming to take place in the park? Because that is, when we make it sustainable, when we do these beautiful projects, a lot of our work centers on mind sessions and getting people to respect the space. And so having active programming in the park, I know when I was growing up, there was active programming, we got lunches from the park and things like that. Is there any plan to scale the park and rec budgets to kind of accommodate some of those things?
Okay.
Sustainability.
Commissioner, go ahead, Commissioner Edwards. Let him speak on that, and then we'll.
If you want to, I don't want this to overlap what they're doing as far as the park programming and funding, because it's two separate things. The way I would describe it, as far as I know what's coming, what they're doing is more on the revitalization and the beautification and all that.
Yeah, and I understand that, that's why I
So-
said it's a question more so for the city, it's
Yeah.
a partnership.
So as far as programming are concerned, and I was gonna get to that with down in the Parks and Rec. But since you asked that question, there is some funding coming in where we can have some different types of programs. Actually Keeper Williams to get involved. But one of the things that I always stress is this, even though we have that funding, to carry out those programs at this present time, we're going to need people who will volunteer. For instance, I've been trying to get tournaments going, and everybody is either working or they were already tied up into something, and some of how much do I get paid? I have talked to James and some other young men who talked about transformation, as the chief was talking about, and I think it's time for that transformation to get the younger people under me to carry whatever the one that they're doing now. They're giving the new generation a brand new park, so to speak. Me, I go to the park, give me my music and I'm good. I'm not trying to chase a ball, none of that. But people your age know what your children and what your grandchildren, what type of programs they would want. So I'm working on getting much funding as I can. I can use it for myself, but to get people like you where we can come together and keep it a partnership, and we come up with the programs until we get to that point where, hey, we can pay a staff now. But until then, we're gonna have to do this thing with a shoestring budget until we get to that point. It's a long process.
Commissioner,
That's what we're gonna have to do.
To address that, we have a person on staff that's supposed to create a program in the park, correct? That is their role for the city to actually create programs.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the city manager. We have somebody on staff that is their role, Parks and Recreation, who should be creating schedules for the park, baseball and all the other things that should happen in the park. If it's not, that should be.
That is correct. We have one person.
Okay, so I know to speak to the programming, that's Ms. Brown. She is the,
But we haven't been
we had the fun.
doing our job.
so that, I guess to that point, if that person is not able to do that, we may need to get some help. But my other question is, I don't want to open up anything else. That I had that I thought was important.
Okay.
If I can remember, can I come back to it?
All right. Mr. Gunther, you had.
So the mulch, rubber mulch. I've seen that in a few different parks, and at least everything about it is it needs dye on shoes and stuff like that. If it rubs off on shoes and stuff like that, I can imagine like the kids going around and stuff like that. Is it possible to get one that does it?
And that's when we work with the vendor, and they test the material and they provide us with a sample, that is a question that we can bring up this meeting. Yeah.
And my second question is, I've seen on like college campuses and things like that, where you have these like stations where people can call for help if they're in trouble and stuff like that. We have at least maybe 2 of those in this park.
Yeah.
So I think about like when you talk about like human trafficking and like how vulnerable women are in spaces like this. I think it's incredibly important that we have extra layer of support, not only with violence, to give them another layer of support.
I will say, look, I will explore that.
Just some of the fun.
I think I have to understand
Mhm.
what I was saying. I know we can learn too, but I just have to understand who provides us with that service to do that work. So I have to do some research, right? Because I think, we got power lines, cell phone lines, and that kind of thing, and I don't know what all that entails. But I think that's great.
It'd be hard, don't it, Commissioner?
I remember the last question.
All right, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
So the other one was around parking, which is a city issue. I know we own, there's a lot that's directly across the street from Union Field that could possibly be used for parking. But the parking is a city issue that needs to address that particular issue with this park and also Union Field. Parking is something that the city really needs to address.
Yeah, something that we can look at sometime. Yeah. Mr. Duncan, what's next? You want to yield to her? Okay. Good.
Thank you, Chair. Of course, you know that's Broadway Park or June Park is in my ward. And the history of it, well, let me go, the history of it was a kiddie park. Now let's go back to the census. What is the census? What is the largest population in Benard? Children. Now, I was really disgusted when they put those basketball courts in there. We saw how the people reacted. They used it, they enjoyed it, they had their difficulties, they fought and shot each other. It's all sorts of stuff come from grouping us together with our problems. So I was disgusted when we put all of them basketball courts in a kiddie park. It's there now, now we're gonna expand it some more. It's still a kiddie park. Just because our police officers thought it was better to put young men in together where they can watch them on the camera. But it's still a kiddie park. And the biggest population are children. And when you see them walking to our park to play, sometimes they come with their parents and they come alone. So I don't know if we doing our young kids an injustice by putting basketball courts in every park and not allowing them to have an alternative. I don't know if we're doing an injustice or not. Number 2, parking.
Thanks.
When I say Union Park is horrible with parking, when they had that event, they park everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. When there's no event there, they park on the grass.
Should be.
Therefore, parking is horrible. Broadway Park, they call themselves making for Bone a one-way street. That didn't work well. Parking still was not available. Or you couldn't even go down for Bone at one time. You can't park but on Broadway at all. So you got neighborhood streets that's connected to it. Only one. And I guarantee you those neighbors on that street, I think it's Wells Street, they're not gonna like all of those people parking on that street. So there is an empty lot. And I think the city needs to find out who owns it. But they got tires and all sorts of stuff on it. And just like you went after Lady T on Empire, you can go after this person and ask them, can we acquire this land and make parking? We can extend the park out a little bit more, as well as parking. So I think that's an issue, and if we don't deal with it now, when we build, they will come, and they will come with their cars, and we will have another problem. So you didn't do it in Union Park, and Union Park turned out to be a good time. I saw it happen, although they weren't very transparent on what they were going to do with it.
All right, Commissioner.
I
know. Yeah.
I know you're hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Well,
but the
I
people,
am too, but
these people here.
I have the right to speak.
Yeah, but
Don't do that, Mayor.
Nah.
Don't do it.
But no,
Okay.
for the sake of other folks, that's what I'm asking.
They shouldn't have come if they didn't want to hear what we had to say.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so parking on all the parks. And if this one, if you make the mistake that you made on Union, we'll be in the same shape again. If you taken all of the kiddie park and land, I don't know what that green square was. I think I heard you say it was turf field. I don't know. I'm having a problem with those two issues. It was a kiddie park, it still is, it is a kiddie park. We have less kids. No way that I let my kids play close to them basketball court. The language that I hear and the conflicts that I hear coming out of, I wouldn't let my kids stay over there. I wouldn't even let them be close to it. So don't let us create no more problems in our park. Because we already know that Cornerstone Whirlpool wants to take over our parks. Maintain them as well as create things to do in them. That's on the agenda. They brought that to us months ago. And when I hear her say they, I wonder who the they are.
I'm sorry, I got it.
Because we only saw it one time, and there was comments made, but things moved forward immediately. I hear the city manager saying, well, we got a plan. So we're gonna wait on it, but I already saw it, the writing on the wall. Whirlpool wants to put their money in the parks. It's a great thing if they do what we want them to do, not what they want to do. And this parking thing, we cannot keep doing dumb stuff and think we're going to get a different result. We're going to get the same result.
I'm going to disagree.
Well, you can do that.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm respectfully disagreeing with you because Whirlpool has no intention, no agenda. We don't have to do it tonight. We don't have to do this.
Oh, I know you don't.
And
So don't threaten us.
It's not a threat.
I know you don't have to do it.
Point of order.
And so what I want to share, what I just want to remind is, we came to the city 2.5 years ago and talked about the long-term plan and what we would like to do if you all wanted us to, and y'all said yes.
I remember that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so what I think we've done really well with having very open, transparent conversations with one another. I do.
With one another? Who is the one another?
Collectively, individually, I think we have. And so our intent is to help the community, the city, the residents, the children, to improve the parks, to improve the property values, to reduce and eliminate crime and all of those things. And those are the things that when you enhance parks, that's what happens over time. It's not immediate. Some of the questions, concerns, and comments that you may have around parking and limitations and where they're up, that's not a Whirlpool problem. That's the city of Benton Harbor's issue that needs to be.
I was talking to the city of Benton Harbor.
But you said Whirlpool.
I know I called Whirlpool's name because they keep playing.
Point of order. Thank you. We're not gonna get everything in on this. We got two more to go. And this, I think it's a great idea. You did, you put a lot of work into it. It has been discussed, and I know, everybody ain't gonna agree, but I think it's, I view it not only as a kid park, children park. I view it as a family park too. So I think so. But we got to move on to this next one. Thank y'all. All right. Please. Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't get a chance to ask.
Next, we got next item.
Hey, you gotta give
No.
me that at the last meeting. Wait a minute.
We can't. And I'm gonna do it, Mr.
I put
Duncan.
my hand up, I asked.
This item is done with, man.
You don't even know what my question is. If it's a
Duncan.
question, and you won't let me
What?
ask it?
Go ahead, ask her, but you can.
I'm tired of you in the mirror doing this to me every
Mr.
time
Duncan,
you get
well,
in a meeting.
yeah,
And I
well,
want the citizens to understand
Yeah.
who all is doing it.
all right,
My
that's good.
question was only, and it
All right.
wasn't really a question
Next item on the agenda.
about being able to have.
Okay. Mr. Dylan Barnes, you here?
Like, yeah, I guess, 100, I guess, or kiss the get into things like that. And
Curfew will be marked.
You can come up to the,
Like a football field. So it'll look like it'll be marked.
okay, then I didn't hear about the bathrooms, how they were going to be situated.
There will be no bathrooms in this park.
Well, there should not be any kids in that park. There's no bathrooms and no running water. Fine, through the chair.
Duncan, there's we got another press. Well, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it right now, though.
There gotta be a bathroom.
Okay, I understand that.
Running water, there's too many people, too
All
many
right.
kids. You can.
Yeah, well, we ain't gonna talk about it right now, though, man.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Through the chair.
See,
What are we gonna talk about?
we can talk about it in the next meeting.
Next week?
Next
is
meeting.
when?
Next Public Safety Committee meeting.
And it's on what day?
Second Wednesday.
Next month.
Yeah.
See how the citizens get
Yeah.
in here? You helping. You're not
right,
helping.
Hey, man,
You're
what
not
up?
helping if you're gonna shut me up from asking.
Well, we got some
questions.
other citizens that want to say
I
something
had
too,
my
man.
hand up, and I was the
It's-
last one. You
it's-
let this lady and that lady.
It's done, man. We ain't not gonna go all night.
That's the end of you doing Mr. Duncan
right,
like that in
okay.
your meetings. You, the mayor, Seats, or whatever his name is, none of y'all will get a chance to disrespect me in here again. I will sue you.
Okay. Got a case filed.
And anybody else would mistreat me in here ever again because you are wrong when you don't let citizens talk in a public meeting. And we can ask as many questions as we want. I don't care how hungry you is, I'm hungry too.
Yeah.
But I got my rights, and you're not gonna take them away. Actually, none of y'all gonna take them away.
Mr. Citizen,
My name is Mr.
I'm
Duncan.
talking about
to you.
Mr.
If you don't wanna call me that,
I'm not
don't call
talking.
me nothing.
I'm talking Mr. Citizen Dylan Barnes. Thank you. You're a citizen, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Can you, you're here to discuss the motorcycle last couple of years you guys did. Can you explain what?
Yes. Mr. Chairman and Commission, City Manager, just we, for the last 2 years, have been doing a motorcycle audio competition at Gene Block Park. And this year, July the 29th will be our 3rd year. And it has grown tremendously. And we're coming in respectfully. We got it scheduled for the 29th of July. However, and this is something that me and Donnie Lee Jr. have, it's like a hobby of ours that we now turned into promoters. We have been going to all motorcycle audio shows all across the country. One big one is Daytona, Florida. And we, born and raised here, have beautiful beach in Gene Block Park, decided, hey, let's have an audio competition here at our beach that we grew up around. And again, this is our 3rd year. And what we have respectfully requested is a possible collaboration with the city. Just to, because everywhere we go, our show is scheduled for Saturday, but Fridays is usually a meet and greet. That's when people come from all over the country. And it's a diverse show, like participation of people from all over the country. And a lot of people say when they hear motorcycles, Harleys, the bad biker boys, no, we're not biker boys. It's 2 kinds of biker boys, and there's boys that like to ride bikes. That's what I consider us. Just guys that like Harley as a hobby. The group of participants that come in to our show are responsible men that make a lot of money. A lot of them are builders. And it's amazing. I think Commissioner Henderson have been to them, and it's awesome. We even had a resident from one of the neighboring homes on Gene Block Park come down and say this is by far one of the most classiest events that he'd ever seen put on at Gene Block Park. He wanted to be on our committee as well. So again, just respectfully requesting that we be allowed to use Gene Block Park partnership with the city on a Friday for our meet and greet, where they're coming in and, they get under the canopy, size up, competition, and it allows us a little more prep time to prep for the competition the next day, the Saturday. And just some of the, how a partnership would look, this will be opportunity for our great guests to meet, our city officials, like I said, Commissioner, some come, Police Chief McGinnis always allowed an officer to come in for presence, and the officer had more fun than he really enjoyed himself. So, and then so it allowed, we respectfully invite all the staff and the commission to come out so our guests can see our city officials who's really responsible. And one thing I want to say about, we've traveled all over the country from north, south, east, and west to competitions. And the reason why it's growing so big is because they said this Ben Harbor's venue, our venue is by far the best venue in the country because of that water. And so we have this crew of guys, they call themselves the Pandemic Crew. They're all millionaires. And they got 8 little charter bus size RVs with 40-foot trailers full of motorcycles. And one of them on the cotton field, he's leaving out of Mississippi. And we're going to Memphis in a couple of weeks to be with them. And he said, we definitely coming to Ben Harbor. So just find us parking for our 8 RVs, big stagecoach style. And this is going to be huge. And, and this is something we want to do. Again, another impact is economic impact for local businesses, restaurants, hotels. I know a lot of people get into Airbnb, so they be looking to purchase Airbnb. It's growing like by leaps and bounds. And then it's just good entertainment for our residents. We got a lot of motorcycle riders in Ben Harbor who come out, been coming for the last few years, and they got the hits. That's how we did. We went to a show, and our bikes were playing, and we like, hey man, we got to do better. And so we into it deep, and I think we can put thousands and thousands of dollars into our bikes just to compete in these different shows. And our show, we give away a big purse money, and so we're in the process of working out even collaboration with Whirlpool. And one question, like, how can you associate Whirlpool with motorcycles? I said the same way you associate Whirlpool with Daytona 500. Them cars are just another things. Y'all got cars, y'all got funny cars. Sponsor motorcycle. Y'all going the right, we right here where y'all at, and it's here. And then one thing, WSJM has jumped on board. 105.3 really made our last year the great year it was, because the city's like, what is this on that they keep talking about on our radio station? And they came out, and it was like in droves. So we looking to increase employment. We need, people. It was just too big for us. I begged Commissioner, I said, like, could you be on our committee? Because we just need some strong voices. Some, it's bigger than us, and it's getting bigger. And then, so a lot of people, corporate sponsorship jumping on. We got a guy that did us a website, pro bono, because they just like our idea. And so we just, again, I'll let Don say something. I might let something out, but we just come to you guys respectfully requesting. And then another thing I want to say before I turn over to them is it's a recreational opportunity, because the Team Us is the name of our promotion company. And this consists of me, myself, Don, Ruben, Wimper out of Kalamazoo, and then Veronica out of St. Louis. So we just partnership, and we partnership with Team Us. And we have collaborated with Jumpstart Incorporated, a nonprofit that's been in the community for over 27 years. And so proceeds from our this competition go to Jumpstart to help recreational opportunities for our kids. I'm always good for kids. So, again, that's some proceeds go to Jumpstart to help recreation.
So before you start, let me, so Saturday, because you did it last couple of years, it was on Saturday, right? And you pay for that Saturday, which is the, whatever the fee is, I think it's 2,500, something like that. And you come in Saturday morning, it was kind of rough for you to set up, because especially when it's getting, it's getting bigger.
So we build a custom ramp that we have to haul in Saturday morning, so our day starts about 6 a.m. and then on the day of the show, so. And then we get people, like last year, we got people, hey, I'm in town, what are we gonna do? We have no other place to meet them or accept them, and I figured that Friday night or Friday evening would be a good place where we're setting up for people to come in, see it for the first time. We got a lot of first time attendees that are registered and booking online. So we're just asking the city for that help on that Friday, that we could, bring these people in, accept them, greet them, and show them what we have to offer. I got a friend from Alabama. He said, "Man, that's not a lake, that's an ocean." People have never seen a venue like this. I've been Arizona, Daytona, Florida, Maryland, and there's nothing that even resembles our beach. And that's what's drawing people to the area. We got people that are investing, moving to the area. We got one guy looking for property here now, and it's an opportunity to showcase what we have.
It's what time Friday?
I was thinking around 5 p.m.
Okay. So you start setting up around 5, and had a meet and greet, and then your crew would already be there to start setting up for the next day.
And then we also can offer, we have food vendors. We got a guy that's been staying 30 years out of ski, and we have food vendors out of Grand Rapids. We're trying to get more local food vendors to come in to showcase what we have here, as food vendors out of that park. We're reaching out to them. We partnership with a lot of different businesses, Harley Davidson dealership, to kind of offset some of this cost so we can start getting back to the community.
So back to the economic side, I know dealing good with the numbers, finance guy. Can those numbers that you send me, can you go over that real quick?
Are you talking about the cost of the budget that we're showing?
Yeah, you had to sell you had so many entries.
As basic one, in year 2021, we sold 150 tickets at $20 at the gate first year, 2021. We had one merchandise vendor, 2 food vendors at $125 each for the first year, 2021. We had 60 motorcycles participating in the audio competition at $3,000, earning $3,000 first year. We had 17 motorcycles participating in the bike show at $25. So we split the pot with the winner of the bike show, and the members of the team got us a sponsorship prize money of $5,000 the first year. So we giving prize money out, and that's another draw. See, we started like, okay, they go for trophy, they were on the country, we giving out cash. So the money we front out of our pocket. And so it's been in excess of $5,000 that we gave out in 2021. And then next year, 2022, it went from 115 tickets to 300 tickets. So it doubled. That's based off of the year promotion, and then people spreading the word across the country, so we got more interest. Then we earned $6. We had 4 merchandise vendors, so that increased. And then we had 5 food vendors last year, so that increased the second year. And then we had 70 motorcycles participating in the competition, and then that was also increased. And so then we gave out $5,250 prize money, so we upped the ante, prize person $5,250. So 10% of proceeds raised was the Jumpstart Incorporated.
So from 21 to 22, you almost doubled your, and so probably in 23, you're looking to even blow it off.
Yes.
All right. And so what you're asking the city to do is basically partnership on Friday for those hours that you want to conduct a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically off asking for facilities, okay?
The use of it, yeah, right. I mean, it could be like the in-kind or participation or whatever, yeah.
And then again, it allows us to have a meeting.
Yeah.
It allows us to welcome our guests coming in on Friday, first Saturday, it allows us to set up. We have 4 sets of bleachers that we haul on the trailer, to build a competition pit. And then a big old ramp that I built, that we built. And so trying to do that in the morning, get all that set up before 8:30 in the morning. It's a lot.
And it's all open to the public, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we've been trying to mission.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's just like
Yeah.
somebody hosting an event.
Right, but for the meet and greet,
Yeah, that'd be open to the public.
open to the public, yeah, right, yeah, I understand that, okay, all right. Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, I went last year. It was fun. First time been to one since I was a kid. It reminded me of Dylan might remember. Remember they used to do the quarter mile on 94
Yes, sir.
from Crystal to the Euclid overpass. It was the quarter mile. And my cousin used to have the Harvard Charger, the Hustler, Chi-Town Hustler, supercharger 6-packs and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, it was nice. I got no problem. I'll be out there again. Might be out there when they help set up. No problem.
Commissioner Henry.
Just give me a ton of stuff. I didn't make it. But I need to understand if you say you feel rap. They do they do different tasks or different
No, they actually, it's a music competition. They got different levels, like a featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, heavyweight, and extreme. And the music and the sound you hear come out of the motorcycle, it's just music.
Oh, it's just music.
It's just ramp.
So motorcycles.
Yeah, we build a ramp.
I got you. I got you.
They sound off. We got 5-star judges that come to judge. And, it's a class act. We have been to shows in Daytona, starting at 1 and now ending. But we haven't grown that big. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I can play them in the park if I can use one of these bikes.
I'll work. We do a resolution.
Now I understand.
Do
Okay.
that for,
Yeah, I'm gonna need some.
oh, yeah,
Right,
I'll get that for you.
All set, yeah.
Okay.
And, we
But
did-
I've seen some of the big bikes, they boom.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. And now, the next question I need to ask, you actually pay a fee to the city for your Saturday event?
Yes,
Do you get, open all vendors under your fee? Or do they have to pay vendor fees to us?
Oh, they pay them.
They pay vendor
Yes,
fees?
ma'am. Yeah, we collect it. And when they come in, we give it to the city.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So usually that we collect it, we come in the Monday after the show, and we usually try to reserve the date for the next year. And that's when we pay.
Oh, so we don't, yeah, that deposit stays.
The deposit stays here, and then, that Sunday, or that Saturday night, as soon as we're done, we have crews in, and we haven't had a complaint yet, so.
Okay. All right.
We bring our own, I do construction, we bring our own dump truck, we take our own trash with us.
Yeah, I heard about you guys doing that, and it's commendable, so, and, I guess that's it. Everybody pays the city sometime, and you want us to partner for Friday night, where we open the gate
So
for
the gate will
anyone.
be, Friday night, the gate will be open for anybody that wants to come in and participate.
Yeah, we
just
just not
like
charge.
to be-
It's regular residents and all of our beach boys can come. And we just want to be able to have access to set up for Saturday. They'll just come under the canopies, sound off. Just to check the company. It's just a meeting.
Well, I understand that, but I also know that we make a lot of money with people coming to that park.
Yeah.
So one night of giving it free might hurt us.
You still get your parking. We just want to be able to have the pavilion set up under the pavilion. the parking will still go to the city. That's what we're saying. Let us have the pavilion. Because in the way the fee structure is set up, it's gonna explain to us, we pay for every parking spot that we close. That's what the $2,500 fee includes. So we're not asking to, the pavilion, I think is around $600. And the rest of the money goes to parking. So we're just saying, we just want the pavilion and the city can control the parking for that Friday. So when you look at the parking, you got, you know, we'll make signs and put them up. So now you got 2 motorcycles in one space instead of 1 car. So I think it'd be a win-win for the city because that is policed every 15 minutes, I believe. So.
Okay.
I was told that.
I know, yeah,
I was
I
told
know.
that.
But, okay, that's a great partnership. I have no problem with that. Especially when I know that the city is making some money off of the vendors and that's a great partnership. And I know it's gonna grow. I don't know with the other commissioners, but I agree that we should partner with you on that Friday.
Okay, what? See your hand up, Mr. Duncan?
Yeah, I did.
Come on.
Let's adopt them.
So move.
Wait,
No, go ahead.
That's, I'm glad you said that. Every time black businesses come in here, it turns into, you guys get what you want, and the citizens lose a lot because we lose a lot of our access to the beach. Case in point, the PGA, how they taken over, and for little money too. I guess they pay about the same thing you guys pay for vending. I mean for being there. And I think that with them, since they're so much larger than life, where they can take it for weeks and weeks at a time for that little money. And the park, Mr. Clark didn't want it that way. They made it that way anyway. Money makes things happen. That our city commission can deal with the pressures of not, or saying no when they should say no. I'll put it that way. I like you guys to adopt Gene Clark Park, get as big as you can, help the city. I ain't just talking about the kids, I'm talking about young men your age right now when ain't working, don't have no training, don't have no skill. Help them. A partnership would be wonderful. And we ought to have more people like you, and we should fill our beach up with your people, our people, doing the things that we like to do. And I will support you guys in any kind of way for parking. You guys need some parking during the time that you're here. That's around, you got plenty of places. Plenty places to park. So thanks for hearing me out. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, Commissioner Clark Griffin.
I just want to say, you say this is your 3rd time?
Yes.
So each year you came to the city?
Yes.
It's done, so this is nothing new to the ones that's been here, right?
Other than Friday.
Right. Well, other than that, so, but I mean, they already informed, it's been going on, and that is my ward, so I want to say, I think that's a great opportunity. That's a great thing that you guys are doing.
Get bigger and
Anybody else? What we're gonna do then, Madam Clerk, I'll work with you we'll get a resolution to do a consensus co-chair. Okay, to move this to the regular commission. All right, last item on the agenda. Do you wanna, thank you, yeah, gentlemen, yeah. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you all for being here. Thank everybody for already coming to the park. Therefore, all I have to do is do an update. First, we're gonna have, thank you very much, so we don't hear from anybody else. Want to hear from Kathy, Noble, Rosie, please come forward about the block of time block party.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. My name is Kathy Pyle, and I'm representing Novo here in Benton Harbor. We came before the Planning Commission a couple of weeks ago, and one of the challenges that we heard was that Novo does not give back. And that is further from the truth. And we took that to heart because one of the things that was very important to us is passion. And what I heard tonight is a lot of passion. There's passion for the community, there's passion for each other, there's passion for what is right and doing what is right to move forward with everyone. So one thing I'd like to let everyone know is we heard you. We heard what you said of us not giving back. As of May 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, we are replanting all of the planters in downtown Benton Harbor. And we are cleaning up the Arts and Thayer parks. Those are two important things that we feel we can help, and it doesn't cost us anything. We are helping contribute back by doing so. We are also, with Commissioner Edwards, we are putting together a block party for after the Blossom Time concert. We have had a Benton Harbor's Got Talent at the livery for the last month, and in doing so, we were able to have the best of the best come out and show us their talents. They were able to do a dance. We had single musicians being rappers. We had Spanish artists. We had just a fun array of people. And with that, they had passion. And that seems to be the big energy I feel in this community is passion for what you do. So therefore, we have brought all of our winners from Benton Harbor's Got Talent. They are going to be performing at the block party after the Blossom Time Parade. And after that takes place, or after they wrap up Sankofa, which is very popular around the community as well, they will be on stage performing. And then once again, the band 1985 will be back again. Last year it was a very popular event. A lot of community family members were there, and it was a great event right following Blossom Time. So, Mr. Edwards,
Thank you.
what do you have for me?
Yes, thank you very much. Last year was very successful, and one reason we asked for 1985 to come back, they let me pick a kid at random out of the audience and put them on the stage, and they gave the kid a tambourine while they performed their next song. And what really got me was this grandmother of a child taking the video. I guess it was live, showing it to the little boy's mother who was at work. And the mother was crying, watching her son up on the stage. That stuck to me. How many of us in here got a picture with you on stage with a band? I raised my hand. But anyway, that was it. I want to thank Kathy Noble, that whole thing. And so we're doing it again this year. And we're trying to make it just all local. The Ben Harbor Got Talent, hey, you guys should have been there. It should have been more. We did it kind of at the spur of the moment, but we're not buying away from that. We're going to keep it. Ben Harbor Got Talent. We're going to kick off the summertime. Why not let us kick off our own summer? I enjoy watching all the big band people. I really do. But I'd rather help people who are going to see the next day. Make it a little better. Thank you very much, Kat. Anybody have any questions? Oh, yeah, and the funding is going toward Parks and Rec, you already said.
I have a question, but I just got something to say.
Yes.
She stated that, we said, I don't know who we and pointed
It was
this way.
Commissioner Henry next to you. She was very vocal.
Oh,
about how
but
little
let's
we do.
get some order in here,
Yeah,
because I know this is going on. People think they could just come in here, interrupt the commissioner, and then you'll say point of order to the commissioner when you get back, but you don't say nothing to the people.
What do you?
And slander and accusations. this, get some order in here, because this is not gonna happen. When somebody got the floor, inspection commission, this is our turn, you don't interrupt, you don't make slanders and accusations. Even if she heard her and anybody else that Commissioner Henry's supposed to have said that, she don't have any proof. And whoever said, need to stop if it's not happening. And we can say what we want.
Chair? Okay, so anyway, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Commissioner Henry, for clearing up that you did say. Thank you very much.
I said it, but I have another comment now. Can I have the chair, chair, can I?
Wait a minute, I'm the chair, y'all, why y'all?
Oh,
Okay,
you the
stop
chair now?
right there.
You
Since
the
we
chair
talk,
now?
hold on. Stop, since we talking right there. Thank you.
Excuse me, just a minute. I'm sorry if I offended anyone.
Oh,
But
no.
what I'm trying to do is show that we're here as part of this community too. I'm not here to just come in and write on this big horse and go, here, we're just throwing money around and that's not what we're here for. We're here literally to help the community. We sat with Mr. Mental for quite a few hours the other day, looking at what we can do to help bring more people to the downtown area. I've lived in the communities around here all of my life, and it is very passionate for me to actually help give back. And what I hear is opposition and not wanting to have someone come in and help. To me, that's disrespect.
I heard that, it's not.
Point of order, don't interruption, right?
Well, whatever, you know you won't.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Okay, let me say something, excuse me, this is chair speaking, chair is speaking. Thank you, please. Please, chair is speaking. We can only be here for a certain amount of time. We will, thank you, Kathy. We will be putting up our signs here, community. This is the United Civic Monument Group. This sign will be going up. It's double-sided in City Center Park, which basically is basically saying coming soon. The whole project has been already approved. Site has been approved on both cities. And so this will, you will see this sign, and it should be in your package. I think, well, my package was the last page. So it'll be double-sided. Civic Monument Group. Now, after that, I'm going to say this, and then we'll be gone. I got 2 minutes.
Sir, point of order.
I got 2 minutes. If I'm the chair, I thought you said you ain't supposed to interrupt the chair.
No, he ain't calling on nobody else.
Okay, can I finish now?
I asked a question to the chair.
Can I
didn't know
finish?
you was the chair.
I've been the chair
But
since
I need to ask a question, chair.
Go ahead.
You not the chair anymore?
See, interrupt.
Turn it over to him for
Oh,
record.
turn it over to me. Okay, I'm back to
For
the
a few,
ladies.
okay. This is what I'm gonna do.
I'm going back to the ladies and ask this.
This is what I'm gonna do.
You know, pass the
Excuse me,
trees and
I can't say anything.
Would you come back and let us know?
I
what
got
you're
y'all.
thinking?
Actually, Mr. Hanson.
I got y'all.
Cloak.
No, I said, would you come back with Mr. Hanson?
Moses and
He
Jerry.
just lives here.
We
We
off the
make the
record.
rules. So can you come back and let us know what you're planning and what you intend?
I'm actually, well, I'm gonna step aside, and what I'm gonna do is, we are giving him the money to actually purchase the flowers to the DDA, and they're going to the DDA, so the DDA can be addressed with